Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from astrolada.com, and I'm your astrologer for the September 2025 horoscopes. September is eclipse season. That's when things really shake and move. That's when we tend to get, if there is any natural disasters, they're most intense around that time, and those are happening on the axis of water, earth. So we have to watch out for that. The lunar eclipse on the 7th of September, the Virgo eclipse on the 21st of September, solar eclipse. So, whoo, and this is also a sign that in the next 6 to 12 months, because eclipses affect us globally for a long time, there will be big shifts in our medical system. Pisces, Virgo, they're connected to health, to medical things, matters about health and such stuff will be very important. Medical healing system, hospital system might be changing. Virgo is the workforce, and there will be other eclipses in Virgo. So something will shift for the next, already from September, but the job market in a big way. Watch this out. Of course, with AI and everything, oof, exactly those 2 years of eclipses in Virgo and Pisces. Pisces is unemployed, Virgo is working people. There will be like a huge change. Who is unemployed, who is working, maybe more unemployed people because of AI. We'll see this because the eclipse in Virgo is with the South Node, which is like weakening. In Pisces, with the North Node. So they might be like that more people will feel like, what are we going to do, Pisces? And where are we supposed to, are we unemployed now? What is our use? Well, Virgo is like, I feel useful and so on. So the eclipses are happening there on those two Pisces Virgo line. So medical, health, and working, non-working. So this is some of the themes, plus earth and water. You see, the other eclipse in Pisces or near Virgo was with Saturn, Neptune. We had the big water floods that happened in America right after this eclipse. Now let's pray. It's also hurricane season, so who knows? But on a personal level, the first eclipse, the lunar eclipse, is quite positive. It's trine Jupiter, its ruler. It's with the North Node, which tends to give us things for previous efforts, rewards us for something that we've wanted or you've worked on. While the next eclipse on the 21st of September is solar eclipse. It's about new beginnings, but it's with the South Node. You sacrifice something and the new is given to you, or you start the new, you open yourself to the new, and the old just leaves your life organically without effort. And Saturn is coming back to Pisces to finish old work. And actually, Saturn in Pisces cleans the slate, wipes the slate clean from past karmas. Think of problems that you had for the last 27, 8 years, or 14 or 7. These are Saturn cycles, or 21 years, or 14 or 7 or 28. That has been repeated. Saturn is coming back for the last 5 months here, together with an eclipse there, a lunar eclipse, which lasts for 3 months, to wipe it clean. So you start anew after that. So some repeating problems been bragging you, you're going to solve it in the next 5 months. But before I start with the 12 signs individually, I have a new course. I'm so excited. It's an ancient technique, 3,000 years old, ancient Hellenistic, the 3 periods of life. Everyone has 3 periods in life. Not everyone lives through all three. But there is a specific way and very easy. You don't need to know astrology. I lead you through that, how to calculate. For some people, the first period of life might be 17 to, for others, 38 years. And to analyze and to see, someone might be born in poverty and they shift into their second ruler, second life period, and they become so successful. Or someone might get into success and fortune and improved life and health only in the third period, so in their 70s, 60s, or some people move into the third period at 50. So for everyone is different, and I'll show you how exactly to calculate it, how to compare the periods, which is stronger, which is weaker. So you have a sense, like my first 38 years, I was in a very weak planet. And now I moved after that. So life has been wonderful into a much stronger planet. So or someone might be like very successful, famous, or, in the young adult years, popular and very promising. And then suddenly they disappear. They enter into their second period, which might be very weak in their horoscope, and they're like Mr. Nobody. So fantastic, only $20 for early bird purchases. Again, I want it to be very accessible to you. Um, and now let's go to the eclipses September for each of the 12 signs. Thank you. Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising using tropical Western astrology. Aries, Saturn is leaving your sign where it stayed for the last 2, 3 months, just to give you a little bit of a sense how it's going to act for the next 3 years. But it's coming back to your 12th house in Pisces to approximately February 2026. So for the next 4 to 5 months, you're given a chance to finish some job that you haven't completed. Not only that, Saturn is moving on the 1st of September back to Pisces, your 12th house. But there is also an eclipse on the 7th of September in Pisces, lunar eclipse, which acts for 3 months, 3 to 4 months after that. So they'll be working simultaneously. Saturn in Pisces in your 12th house and the lunar eclipse in Pisces in your 12th house to help you. And lunar eclipses are about completing something again. It's about ending something. After the moon has grown that much, it can only start becoming smaller, full moon eclipse. But it's going to be much more impactful because it's an eclipse. It's like a completion of something, ending of something with a bang that you'll be able to do even already in September. But as I said, the window of both of those planets, the eclipse and Saturn retrograde in your 12th house, the influence is for about 5 months, 3 to 4 or 5 months ahead. So you're given a chance to complete something, to wrap up something, or full moon eclipse can also give you illumination, answer, deep realization, emotional deep realization about something that is lingering in your subconscious. And Saturn can give clarity as well, because Saturn likes to really kind of put structure and simplicity into whatever it's passing. And the 12th house is the area of our subconscious as Aries. So something, usually these are subconscious drives or compulsions. It can be even some self-sabotaging behaviors. We don't want to do something consciously, but we keep doing it, for example. And it might be rooted in past lifetimes. It might be rooted in something that we have forgotten and buried deeply in the subconscious that is very hard to remember. And there's no point trying to remember, but some of you might even remember it with the illumination of the full moon eclipse on the 7th of September for the next 2, 3 months, and Saturn working there to deconstruct it and to restructure it and to reorganize your subconscious. So you can have some breakthroughs, let's say, in September, October, November, December, into January, into how your subconscious is working. Maybe you've been self-sabotaging yourself about something. 12th house is the house of addictions, the house of things that we do unconsciously that we don't understand why we do. It's a house of, let's call it even a bit of darkness in the subconscious. We really, it's a dark area there for us. And those two potent influences can help you almost like bring to the surface in some way and work on and decompose and restructure the subconscious and program it in more holistic, in more healthy, in more positive ways, let's say. And this full moon can also give you deep realizations, emotional realizations that can free you, for example, from addictions, that can free you from some dependencies, that can free you from some irrational fears. 12 house rules the houses of phobias, fears, things that we might want on the conscious level to do, but something is stopping us. And that this is the self-sabotaging. This is the 99% of the unconscious that we're not aware of. So this is where and it's internal work, you see. It can appear, answers can appear to you about unresolved, long-standing unresolved issues. Some of those issues might be a whole Saturn cycle, 28, 29 years, that and the 12th house is the house of endings, and the eclipse and Saturn there is like one last push is going to help you in a very powerful way to resolve some old standing problem, for example, to let it go. 12 houses about letting go. You no longer need it because when Saturn enters into your sign again in February 2026, you're starting a new chapter in life. Maybe not immediately in February, depends if you're early Aries or late Aries like me. It might be into 2027 that Saturn comes right to your sun or moon or ascendant, but you're already from February starting on the new path. And before that, you need to clear up a lot of the old rubble, a lot of the old underwater stones that you're tripping on and you're not aware of. So for some of you, it might be good, like very powerful revelations through some kind of shadow work or psychological work or just in dream life. 12th house is the dream life where you can this lunar eclipse, deep emotional realizations, even connection to invisible worlds, ancestry, or psychics, or that you get those some intuitive realization that gives you an answer about something. But it is about releasing, letting go, healing as well. This will be a lot of the themes there. And when Saturn enters your sign, it will be about building new foundations. But you first have to clear up whatever was there, the ground, the weeds, and so on. And this is the process you're beginning. And probably it will be much easier for you now than at any other time in life to release the old. Also, the 12th house on a more mundane level, everyday level, where both Saturn retrograde in Pisces, both the eclipse, is about unfinished business. So going back to finish some business, some project maybe. It is about expenses. So it is a possibility that there might be some extra expenses, but it's kind of a final thing to complete something. Yes, so they can be indication for a few months that there is more expenses than normal, but it's like wrapping up some job. 12th house is also connected to spiritual studies, the dream life. As I said, it can be very potent. You can get answers for long-standing questions through your dreams during that period. So pay attention to them. And also, it's time to work on improving your sleep and rest. The eclipse can give you some revelation how you can sleep better. Saturn can make you have the discipline to improve your sleep life because that's where the soul and body recharges, and you will need it for the new beginnings that all Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising are starting when Saturn enters fully into our sign. 12th house is also far away of foreign countries. There might be some job that you have to do there, or is the imaginary creative world, the world of downloading ideas from the invisible world. So some of you might be working on some such download that you receive. It's 12th house is the house of intuitive insights and secrets. These two planets can activate some secret, the realization of it, So yeah, write to me over the next 2-3 months. Come back to this video. Did anything like that come back? But there is possibility of completion and endings and letting go, but it needs to go from your life. Things will be going from your life, but it needs to go because the full moon eclipse is also with the north node. So whatever is being completed or realized or ending, which is a full moon, starting to decline in your life after that, or seeing the results, you can also, I'll get back to that in a little bit, but whatever is ending, it's because the north node is the future opportunities, is because it wants to represent to you future opportunities. And Saturn, the 12th house is also, and the full moon as well, it's about getting results of previous actions. And Saturn can be one of the most rewarding planets. Even in the 12th house, if you've done good work, good job, conscientious, moral, without shortcuts, if you've put the efforts and energy and you did it in the right way, this can be a time for reaping and rewards. It's the final sign, the 12th house. So when you're completing something, you can reap rewards if you've done the right work. Then we have another eclipse on the 21st Aries, which is going to happen in our 6th house from Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. And I want to speak a little bit about that because this is the second new moon in Virgo. This is very rare. We'll have two new moons in the same sign. Usually there is one new moon in each of the 12 signs every year. So God has determined the first one happened on the 23rd of August, the second one on the 21st of September. The first one happened at 0 degree in Virgo, the second one at 29 degree. So it's like a big exclamation mark on the sign Virgo. For you, it's the eighth house. Sorry, for you, it's the sixth house. Aries, that God is saying, I'm giving you double chance. You need to start something new there. You see, in Pisces, we're releasing, we're restructuring, finishing something in this 12th house that we talked about. In the sixth house, we're being called double 2 times to start something new, Aries. And usually a new moon lasts for about a month. So it started the whole September, basically, from the end of August. And then towards the end of September, another new moon there. And it would last not only for another month, but no, it's an eclipse, solar new moon eclipse, which duration is 6 months. So we have like a 7-month period that the universe has determined for everyone in certain area in life, they have to start something new. And for Aries, it is about new routines, new health habits, maybe a new diet, something that, and eclipses, they can even start by a crisis. So there can be some, crisis, frustration with health or, with your how you take care of your body. Hopefully not, but or some deep realization again that shifts you, because eclipses, they shift, they shake the core of ourselves. The eclipses are the most evolutionary. They create the biggest evolution, eclipses, in the personal life. Of course, we don't feel every eclipse. Many times we don't feel it, but I have to tell you the worst case and the most intense way how it can play out, or the best case. And this is like we're asked and we're given not just 1 month with this new moon, like we have every year, new moon in September in your sixth house, but it's 2 new moons there and an eclipse, solar eclipse, which is like double, triple the influence. You have to do something about health, about routine, start a new workout routine, start a new way of eating, for example, taking care of your body, start a new, and the eclipse is with the south node. I forgot to mention that. So what is that? The south node is about completing and letting go of stuff. So maybe you need to let go of something, maybe some other unhealthy habits, and build on new ones. Or the opposite, you might start new healthy habits, but in the energy of the eclipse, it says that when you start something new here, say for your health, healthy habits, it will allow you to release unhealthy ones, because we have like the energy of new beginnings plus sacrificing something or letting go of something. It's actually might be easier to start for something and then you release something. Sixth house is also work. So maybe you're asked to start a new direction in your work, maybe a new way to be efficient, a new way to get the work done, or maybe integrating some new technology in your work, or integrating a new method, or a new project altogether. That will be important. That will be a few months at least. Or for some of you, Aries, can be a new job altogether. But that entails in it sacrificing or giving up an old one or an old project, or you start a new responsibility or duty or project or work. And in the process of that, you release some other they have to step back, like, so because there is no time or whatever, some other duties and responsibilities that will fall off for you. What else is sixth house? So it is health, it is work, it's employees. If you have employees, so people say you've hired someone to do your apartment. This would be sixth house people as well, which is like hired hand, help. There can be something there as well for some of you that you're dealing with, that there is new beginnings in some way. This is exactly what happened with me on this new moon in the sixth house as an Aries, like a crew of 5 people that are working for me on some project we started. So this is another way, a new project or a new job of some sort, or hiring new employees. And again, because it's an eclipse, it can come through some kind of crisis sometimes. And this lunar solar eclipse is opposite Saturn. So it can start in a more difficult way, that you're pushed towards those changes. But it also is saying that you have the staying power to carry it through. And whatever new thing you start now, Aries, this September, because of the two new moons in Virgo, whether it's the beginning of September, the end, you are still under this energy. And it's connected to health, to routines, to business, to work, to duties and responsibilities, even to some debt, or connected to employees in some way, or even pets. You can get like a new pet. And it's going to be life defining because it's an eclipse. Eclipse is fated event. It's not just a random thing or small scale. It's something bigger. And whatever you start initially, there might be resistance, or it might be going slower than expected. But there is also a lot of other supporting aspects to this eclipse from Pluto, from Uranus. So there'll be a lot of help. So don't give up on it. So there you go, Aries. Yeah, and if you'd like to learn the three stages of your life, I've created, it's a fantastic ancient techniques that I tested for the last few days, sorry, few weeks, and it works so precise, 70-80%, to see which parts of life are they difficult, is the next part of life easier or more invisible, more challenging or more successful, more fame prone, or so on. This is an incredible tool, astrological technique to check out on my new short webinar, and I'm putting a link below. Thank you and enjoy the eclipse season. Taurus Sun Moon Rising, September 2025, using Tropical Western Astrology. Taurus, the month is full of events, and it starts with Saturn moving back into your 11th house, where it feels quite well and will stay there till February. So you have 5 months to finish some unfinished long-term project, for example. 11th house is those long-term dreams and goals that we have, maybe working on something with a group of people, maybe completing some dream or goal that you've left and you're coming back to it now, or opportunity to come back to something, a dream or a long-term goal of yours will appear to hopefully give results. And there is also an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, which is again about results, ending, completions, and Saturn there. And the lunar eclipse will affect you for the next 3 months, Saturn for the next 4 or 5 months. So they'll be working together in this 11th house to do some very important restructuring of your 11th house. And that's like friendships, for example. Some friendships might end. Certain people might leave your life. Certain people from your circle or colleagues or in your social environment, not possibly not through arguments or crisis. It can happen in a more organic way for some of you. Say they move away or something like that. Your social circle can change. But because Rahu, the North Node, is also in your 11th house, so there is like this, something old needs to be restructured. It needs to be through the eclipse as well, because it's full moon eclipse, to be changed, to be released. But Rahu, the North Node, continues to be in your 11th house. New friends will come, new social groups will come. But you need to do the cleaning up of it. This both Saturn and the lunar eclipse on the 7th of September that is active for 3 months after that. It's asking some cleaning up so something new can come there. People that are possibly more, that you can benefit more from because the North Node is there, that have more practical use for you in some way, that because Saturn is there, that are not time wasters, but that are maybe more ambitious people or more serious minded people. Rahu is ambitious, Saturn is serious minded. And maybe you can and release ones that are taking advantage of you or are wasting your time, let's say. The 11th house is not just friends and social circles, it's also gains and profits. So you might be asked to revise. It's Saturn after all. Saturn is, let's restructure, let's reorganize, let's chop off whatever it's not necessary so we can have the most efficient, the most streamlined way. And 11th house is gains. Your salary can be 11th house, for example. If it's your business, the business gains or the ability to reach clients. The 11th house is the audience, the society, the population, your following, your fans or your clients as well. And how well do you network with them? You'll be asked to maybe reevaluate who do you want as your followers or clients, to change strategy in some way, or maybe to complete some project connected to, as I said, large scale project, business project in some way. And when it comes to salary or gains, Saturn can ask you to maybe complete some project that can give you rewards, because the 11th house is house of rewards. What is rewards? It can be the salary, it can be the money from the business, it can be social approval. So something, some hard work that you have to do there to receive, or to, and if you've done the job correctly, if you've done the job with utmost attention to detail, which Saturn requires, and dedication, you can receive very big rewards over the next 4 or 5 months for that work. It can really complete and move ahead. Now, on the other side, we're going to have on the 23rd another eclipse, but this is a new moon eclipse in Virgo. This is your fifth house. And that is actually the second new moon in Virgo. The first one was in August on the 23rd. The second one is on September the 21st. This is very rare, guys. To get two new moons in the same sign, activating the same house. It's almost like a big exclamation mark from God saying, you really pay attention. You need to do something new here in this area of life. New moon, new beginnings. You need to renew it. You need to upgrade it. You need to take it, or kind of like start something new. And the second new moon on 21st of September in Virgo, in your fifth house, has duration of 6 months. So you're given quite a big window here, 7 to 6 months, to start some new beginnings, but you have to start them possibly around September, October. Oh. And what is the fifth house? The fifth house is creativity, to restart your creativity, to restart your joy from life, to restart your ability to be in the moment, to flow, to feel excited, to pour into you the Spirit of God. This is where it's inspirational. The fifth house is inspiration, where just like the most creative house, like kids are most creative, God is asking you to create something new. It might be some of you writing a book. It might be some new hobby that you start that is more creative, or it might be some sport, because fifth house is where we lose ourselves in the flow. Like when someone is painting or drawing or creating something, you lose time. Like kids when they're playing and they think it's like only 5 minutes passed. No, 2 hours passed. So God is inviting you, the universe or your higher self, to find something new like that, that can spark up your creative and your divine inspiration. So it might be good for starting creative project. It might be good for starting even some kind of a business project if it's your own original idea. If it's something unique that hasn't been thought of before, or if you have already a business, something adding in a creative, original way to it. So you see, and interestingly, with the other planet Saturn and Saturn and the lunar eclipse in your 11th house, over the next 4 or 5 months, you can even have the chance to bring it out to the public because of that influence. Fifth house is also the house of affairs, falling in love. Because when do we feel most in flow? When we're in love, when we do something creative, when we're having fun. So it's an invitation and a push from the universe for some of you Taurus, for a new love to enter you. A new love might be a new creative project, or it might be actual romantic love. And because this eclipse is opposition Saturn and Neptune, there might be some kind of fears initially when it comes to new love or new creative projects, or some obstacles that come. But there is also a lot of good aspects from Uranus, from Pluto to this solar eclipse to help. And there will be resources or people to help you in that direction, or clarifying information of some sort that will help, as long as you don't kind of get scared. But it's requiring you to do some sacrifice, because the solar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse, is with the south node, which is about letting go something first. So you might have to let go maybe some other ways that you spend your free time, which fifth house is leisure time, free time, entertainments, enjoyments, not so much distractions, but the things that really make you spark up, not so much watching TV, uh, but to pick up something new. Or it might play another way. You start something new, some new creative project, some new passion. Fifth house is passion, excitement, that zest for life, that awakens the zest for life for you. And in the process of that, you let go of some other unhealthy way of having fun, for example. Or you start a new romance, but it requires sacrificing certain aspect of how you're romantically been usually, or another romantic relationship. Just like letting go of something, first starting something new and then letting go of something, or first letting go of something and starting something new. Fifth house is also children. And I forgot to say, because it's an eclipse on the 21st that triggers your fifth house, there can be some crisis, whether in the romantic life or in confidence or in identity, because fifth house is connected to all those things: identity, who am I, what really makes me happy, what really makes me shine, my confidence, our confidence. It can start with a crisis because it is an eclipse. But its goal is again to eclipses are to realign us on the right track of faith, and for our faith. Because many times we try and get like, oh, we rail off, we kind of go away from the path we're supposed to follow, and eclipse is just, okay, now you've gone this way, but I will derail you. And it can be quite sudden, quite unexpected sometimes. So this eclipse, in worst case scenario, can activate the change and the new beginnings, which can be very positive eventually, through some crisis in the love life, in the confidence, in the self confidence, in the creative process. It's a self house for you. Who am I? And you can start on a journey of new empowerment, because fifth house is one of the houses that wants to empower us. And what else is children? Fifth house is children. It can start a new journey for some of you, for a child, for others, a new chapter in the life of your child. For others, there can be some crisis, even situation with a child that moves, even though it might be stressful, but it actually takes the child to the next. It might be grown-up child. They might be in their 40s, but still it's your child, fifth house, that takes them, or some powerful new beginning in the life of your child that takes it to the next level, or puts them on a different direction in life, or maybe some change in the relationship with children. And the same applies to a romantic partner. It doesn't necessarily mean a new romantic partner. It can mean a new phase and a new stage and a renewal in ways that you connect romantically. Fifth house is to have fun with your partner, to shine together. So there can be the possibility to renew this ability to have fun, to enjoy yourself together. All right. Yeah, that's about the fifth house, Taurus. So remember, the biggest influences are your 11th house, where you have to complete maybe something, restructure some of your social friendships, complete some kind of long-term project and goal, work on social, reaching more people, for example, while removing ones that are time wasting. And the other one is the creative fifth house. So thank you. Gemini Sun Moon Rising using Tropical Western Astrology. Gemini, September is intense for you because the eclipses in Pisces and Virgo are happening in your 10th and 4th houses, which are angular houses. If that's you here, Gemini, they're just on a cross from you. And in astrology, we know that anything that is on a cross from us, which is 90 degrees, it's really activating. In ancient astrology, it's manifesting on the material level, but it's triggering as well. It's triggering you to make some change, and it can feel a little bit more uh, like out of the blue, like some kind of a challenge in some way. And the first eclipse is the lunar eclipse on the 7th of September. It is happening, Gemini, in your 10th house in Pisces on the top of your horoscope. Actually, ancients are saying that if there is an eclipse happening in your 10th house, they were talking about from the ascendant, but let's apply it also to the moon and to the sun. One can become like a king. Ooh. And I actually tested this in my life when there was an eclipse from my 10th house. And it was with the North Node, which is now for you with the North Node, which is a node of gains in some way or material achievements. One can become like a king. Well, when this happened for me, my company grew. It's like I was just working alone. Suddenly I became a boss. So not a king, but something 10th house. You can be given more authority. You can grow some business. And remember, the eclipse is not just on 7th of September. It spans 3, 4 months ahead. So let's say this is the best case scenario for the eclipse in your 10th house. Maybe a promotion or maybe just some more elevated station of authority and so on. Uh, or it can, because it is an eclipse, it can start with some crisis, oh, new direction in your career or something. You have to change there. Full moons are seeing the fullness of something, having some realizations in Pisces, deep psychological realizations about the direction of your life professionally or your worldly responsibilities. Even if you're a homemaker, this is like a big focus on your responsibilities and duties, on your ability to take control and solve complex problems as an executive, even executive of your household, doesn't matter. It can be on different levels. You might be activated somehow through this eclipse to take some, and it might be emotional, it is in Pisces, to take some decisions to change something in your job, in your career, in how you run your business, in your daily responsibilities. And because it's full moon eclipse with the Rahu, with the North Node, full moon can be about seeing the results of our previous actions. For some of you, it can be like a reward, for example, for previous well done job at work, completing some work project, getting a promotion of some sort. So the Rahu is material in nature to receive material and worldly recognition. But because it's an eclipse, sometimes they can be like a crisis with authority figures, with bosses, with people with more like seniority than you. If you're your own boss, something to do with your career, with your work. And even if it's a crisis, Jupiter is sending a trine to this full moon eclipse. So it will be good. Don't worry, the higher forces are looking for you. There will be, even if it starts with some kind of crisis, the need to make some change, the answers will come quickly. Jupiter being in Cancer, in your second house from money, whatever shifts might happen with career or worldly responsibility can be for the better for you financially or security wise. So it can be completing also a career project or a work project because it's full moon, it can't grow anymore. You see what it needs correction, so you need to change it, to tweak it, or to finish it, in some way. And of course, Saturn is from the 1st of September, is also moving into your 10th house. It's been there already for 2 years, the last 2 years. It moved out of it for 2, 3 months. Now it's coming back to complete the job. So if you have some unfinished work project, or maybe an old job can appear, or old professional opportunity, work opportunity for you can appear, for example, or some unfinished project, or some unfinished responsibility, even if you're a homemaker, even if you're retired, something that is relying on you to get done. 10th house is the house of action, of getting to work, of being responsible. And Saturn there says, okay, one last push to do something difficult here. And again, if you deserve it, Saturn can be the most rewarding planet by, giving more authority, profession with or work or raising of authority, but coupled with more responsibility. So it can be about restructuring your career. If you're unhappy in your career, in your professional world with your duties and responsibilities, even if you're stay-at-home mom, even if you're retired, whatever your duties and responsibilities, now is the last chance to change it for the next 4 or 5 months, not just September. Don't worry, but September triggers this process to change it, to restructure it, to find alternative ways to do it. Or, and there is the energy of release, letting go, because it is Pisces, it's so lunar eclipse, lunar eclipse is often about letting go, but because it's with Rahu, this letting go will align you to the right path in life and will open up the future for you. Because sometimes we let go of stuff and nothing new appears, and we're left hanging in an empty space, so it's suspended. But not because the full moon eclipse, which sometimes are about endings, completions, or seeing results. That's the good side of it, as I said, seeing results of some work project, institutions, authority figures, if you've been involved with. But it's about something that you're already aware of that exists. It's not something totally brand new. It's something that's been there. And Saturn there and the eclipse allows you also to solve a long term, and not just in September, over the next 2, 3 months, 4 months even, long standing issue connected to some parent, and things come to head there. They escalate over the next 3, 4 months and they get solved, and that's it after that. With authority figure, long-standing problem if you've had with your career, long-standing problem if you've had with institutions of some sort, or maybe to end, I can call it even like a curse, career curse. Some people, like, they can't find what they're meant to do. They feel like blocked, or what, and or they are, or they have always very kind of difficult authority figures over them. This kind of karmic, or problems with one of the parents, because the 10th house is the house of parents, authority, seniority, or career. And that can happen by correcting your course of action, but somehow you will be able to do that and to complete an old karmic cycle. If it might have lasted for 7 years, for 14 years, or for even 30, almost 28, 9 years, because these are the cycles of Saturn, that it goes there for the last time in your 10th house. And it's asking you with some event, maybe some event will happen. Maybe it will be internal or external that allows you to conclude karma connected to those things. And the lunar eclipse allows you to release it as well, for it to happen faster, for you to have deep realizations, because the process of Saturn are very slow, but of eclipses, the psychological shifts are very fast. Simultaneously, we're gonna have on the 21st, and these processes, they don't end on Saturn on the 1st of September enters and the lunar eclipse on the 7th, and that's it. Oh, on the 8th September, you're like, nothing what you said happened. I get so upset when people do that. Lada, nothing what you said from this horoscope happened. I said, talking about Uranus in Gemini, you have 8 years to fill it, not just July. Like, I'm just telling you to have the perspective for the next 8 years. It's the same now with this. It's not going to be the exact name of the eclipse. Sometimes it happens then. But as I said, eclipse triggers for 3 months. Saturn will be in your 10th house for 5 months. So that's it. You have that to solve to complete some old work, career projects, to change your work or career or ambitious environment, to restructure your worldly duties and responsibilities, to, you know, solve some karma with institutions, authority figures, or difficult situations there. Sorry. And then we have another eclipse on the 21st. This one with 6 months duration. So don't you go complaining that didn't happen on the 21st. 6 months duration, guys. In Virgo. Actually, we had a new moon already in Virgo on the 23rd of August this year. And now another one a month later on the 21st of September. it's in your fourth house, another angular house that makes big changes, in life, that is squaring. And the first eclipse was at 0 degrees on the 23rd of August, not eclipse, the first lunar new moon. And the second one will be on the 29th degree in Virgo. So the very late degrees of Gemini might feel this solar eclipse stronger, while the middle degrees of Gemini, 14, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, will feel the lunar eclipse more, the one in the 10th house, which directly squares them. So yeah, there can be some crisis with work, with authority figures or whatever, but it's just for good, as we said, or some big shift there. And the very late degrees Geminis, they can feel more the solar eclipse because it's at the last degree. But I think all Geminis, because the new moon in Virgo was at 0, the next new moon in Virgo, which is also a solar eclipse at 29 degrees, it includes the whole sign that is being activated. So what do we have here? God or the universe, is very rare to have two new moons, and one of them an eclipse at that, in the same sign. So it's like the opportunity for two new beginnings in your fourth house, family, place of living, emotional connections to the past, to cut connections or to release, to heal, to forgive, because the new solar eclipse moon is with the south node, which is, detaching influence, which is let go of the hurts and pains from childhood or family or those close, near and dear, release, so you can have a renewal of your internal state. Because fourth house is how happy you are, the foundation of your life, your mental, emotional, psychological happiness and health. And you're asked to release like old grudges, and not only ask, it will be allowed for you. The universe will assist you in that, and to kind of have a renewal psychologically, emotionally. And it can feel, with an eclipse triggering your fourth house, a bit shaky. And sometimes they can be actual events like relocating to a new place, changing place of living, some big event happening with one of your parents. Here you see the 10th and the 4th house is the parental axis that's being activated for you with the eclipses, with Saturn, with the new moon. So God is asking you, make a new beginning, maybe move some of you over the next 6 months again. This eclipse might not be immediate. You're being told that you might move, you might change something about your home. Even the smallest thing like moving furniture around in that environment. Members, there might be new beginning with new members in the family. But because it's with the South Node, there might be the need to, you start something new and then you're able to let go of something about your personal life or emotional attachments. So you can start something new in your personal life, but release some old ways of being and habits and emotional habits. So they can be big revelation or shake up in your psychological, emotional world, but also new beginning, like new house, new place of living, new family members, settling down. There is a double influence there, two new moons. One is an eclipse, and God is asking you to release something, and start something new there. Or start something new and something old will be released. Maybe some old grudges towards the past, or some old attachment that unhealthy, emotional, psychological. So yeah, Gemini, this is like for some of you, the 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 card, your fate is moving. When the angles are activated, these are the houses of action, of things happening, of quick, fast developments. And eclipses are also very quick, fast developments. And for you, they're pivotal houses, the 10th of your career, a worldly responsibility, connection to authorities, or the 4th, your motherly responsibility, your parental responsibility, some big change can happen there. Your home environment, place of living, your security and psychological well-being, so to speak. So big one, do right. Maybe now you'd feel big changes already, maybe in October, November, right below, so we can keep track in real time seeing this. Or also come and join me for my webinar which is only 2 hours, but it shows you the three parts of life. Some people, the first 30 to 40 years or 20 to 30 years, I'll show you how to define that, can be under the influence of very hard planets. For others, the second part of life or the third one can be the real successful. So others can start very successful and end up more invisible and on a different vibe altogether. This is fascinating, very correct ancient astrological technique. It's good for anyone, even beginners who don't know much astrology and want to know how their life is split in three. Cancer Sun Moon Rising horoscope for September 2025 with tropical Western astrology. Cancer, this set of eclipses is quite harmonious, harmoniously set towards Cancer. The two eclipses, the first one on the 7th and the second one on the 21st, are happening on an axis of your ninth house in Pisces and your third house in Virgo, which is sending good aspects to you, unless you have some planets possibly in the Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, and Gemini axis. You might not even feel it. It's gonna be quite smooth. But I have to tell you, if you feel it, how it can play out. But first of all, Saturn is moving back into your ninth house. It was there for 2 years. But it's coming back to finish some old job, and it's there gonna be till February. So, Saturn is like a planet which likes to remove weeds, and it wants to kind of like really unroot for you certain wrong beliefs, wrong worldviews. Not wrong, but they might not be wrong. They might be just harmful for you. They might be outdated for you, at this stage of life. And you have like 4 or 5 months, you're given a chance to really kind of restructure your mentality about reality. And everyone talks about manifestation and how all that matters is what you believe is possible, your subconscious beliefs. Well, the house of your beliefs is the ninth house. And if you really want to be successful in life, this is the luckiest house in astrology, the ninth house. We give it very little, predictive power when we look at it, but actually, if your ninth house is in good order, no matter what the rest of the horoscope is doing, you have this manifesting ability because your beliefs are working for you rather than against you. And this is what Saturn has been trying to do for the last 2 years. And this is what it gives you on. And usually the last time it enters is the most potent. It shows you the results. You start seeing the results and the light of it. So somehow your beliefs to be deeply restructured about what is possible in your life. Ninth house is one of the self houses, your self identity. It starts with our belief system is who we believe we are. If you believe that you're small and insignificant, or that you're always poor, or that you always struggle in life, or that the story you tell yourself is the ninth house about your subconscious is telling you, the you this is what's going to manifest. And Saturn, you know, in your ninth house, coming back again says, now, let's weed out all that rubbish that you believe about yourself or about the world or about how things happen. And yes, this can mean some kind of an existential faith crisis, crisis of belief. I had it when Saturn was transiting my ninth house, but I always get much more practical, much more realistic about who am I, and I always kind of I'm forced to work on, when Saturn was in my ninth house, on the things that I'm uh, consciously or subconsciously talking and telling myself that I'm capable of, or that it's possible in this world. And sometimes with Saturn there, we might think, oh, this is not possible, like lose hope. But actually, Saturn wants you to push through and work through that. So this is one of the things, you're restructuring your belief system. Another thing is that the eclipse, the lunar eclipse, is also in Pisces. So we have double whammy influence there, and lunar eclipse acts for 3 months after that. Saturn will be 4 or 5 months there. So this is not influence for one day. And if you say, oh, nothing like that happened in September, no, because again, I'm talking to you long periods ahead, 4 or 5 months. So it might happen in January for you. And you'd say, well, Lada is always wrong. happen another time, but I'm telling you, maybe not in September. This is when the signs, we get the signs in the sky, but it's signs for the future, aren't they? And this future is like eclipse is usually 3 months long. Lunar eclipse, Saturn will be there 4 months, 5 months actually. The other thing on the ninth house that can Saturn and the eclipse can make you do is, and the eclipse can help you have really powerful, emotional, deep realizations and breakthroughs about what is possible for you, about the future possibilities, even downloads, psychic downloads, or sudden revelation. This is an eclipse. Saturn works very slowly, but it's its last time here, and it can give its results. While eclipse works very fast, bam, it hits you. I mean, the processes are very quick outside, so something can happen to realign you for a different future, to realign you for different opportunities, because ninth house is also the house of our future, the house whether we can plan our future or foresee or feel what is possible for us. So the eclipse there it's a portal to higher dimensions or lower ones with an eclipse. So try not to spiral out, spiral up, not spiral down. What is possible? And this can happen by suddenly a new opportunity appearing or something shifting in your life that allows you to have a new perspective on it, or that allows you to remove old and harmful beliefs in some way, reprogramming your mind. But on a more material level, what is the ninth house? It's learning, teaching, taking some course, for example. You might be completing some degree with Saturn there, with the eclipse there. You might be completing or thinking something about higher education, pre-qualification over the next 3-4 months. That can be a focus for you. Ninth house is foreign travel. Well, with eclipses in Saturn there, I won't recommend to travel on the 7th and on the 7th and the 21st exactly, but it can mean activating, opening the opportunities to do something different, to, for example, to travel somewhere or to complete some immigration process or documents. On ninth house is also teaching, maybe completing some teaching project, or ninth house is legal matters. So yeah, if you're in some kind of legal matters that you haven't completed, this is your sign that over the next 4 or 5 months, and there can be some very important resolution or movement or development with this eclipse in September in your ninth house regarding legal matters. Ninth house is also father figures and teacher figures, mentor figures. Some of you might decide that you are ending a relationship with a mentor figure. Saturn is like, if it's not working, don't be that dead monkey, dead donkey, or end up, following of some teacher or guru or beliefs or some kind of disappointment even, but to free you for the more aligned choice. Yeah, but otherwise it can be the completion of some intellectual academic efforts over the next few months, of some high-minded, academic, or, it doesn't have to be PhD or something, but my work is academic, for example, as well. A lot of mental, a lot of higher concept, foreseeing the future, higher perspective, and so on. So this is about the Saturn 9th house energy. As I said, it's also father, it's also foreign countries. So for some of you, it can be something around that. Or higher knowledge, astrology, teaching with teachers. There's some escalation or important development there. With full moon eclipse, you might decide to let go of that teaching or complete such teaching, or be rewarded and have some breakthrough psychologically if you're trying to achieve some different state of consciousness, some different level, and so on. Now, the other eclipse is on the 21st of September, and it's the second new moon in Virgo this year. It's very rare. We usually would have one new moon in each of the 12 signs. Now you're having two new moons in the same sign. It's like, and one of them is an eclipse. So eclipse lasts for 6 months, new moon lasts for 1 month. So the first new moon in your third house was in the end of August. The second one is in September 21st, but it has duration of 6 months because it's a solar eclipse as well. So here's this big exclamation mark. God is asking you and inviting you and pushing you, your higher self, call it whatever, the universe, to really start something new in this third house. Okay. So it's telling you to complete something in the eighth house, the ninth house, release old beliefs that are limiting for yourself, what is possible at your future. Your plans for the future might change, even like pre-qualification and whatever, because when we study, we're changing our future. And then it's telling you in the third house, start. Third house is experimenting, trying new things. Third house is the most curious house. The cat, it's the toddler. It's like put your finger everywhere, and it is the most courageous house. So two new moons, one of them eclipse. God is activating your courage to really come out of this ninth house, the energy of, for a little bit at least, because you know it's asking you to change something there, but it's telling you to start something new in the third house, which is experiment, try new things, try new places, uh, connect to new people. Third house is a social house where you make new acquaintances, new people just to chat with about something, to exchange ideas, to brainstorm. And it's telling you have 6 7 months area with these two new moons there, one of them long term, to try something new, maybe learn something new. you know Ninth house is our beliefs and opinions, our beliefs, deep beliefs. Third house is other people's beliefs. So it's kind of asking you, maybe letting other points of view come to you, other belief systems that are not your own ones. Third house is also asking us to get involved more with tangible things, hands on. You've learned your theory, the ninth house. Now it's like hands on. Practice what you preach. Don't just preach. Nine is the preaching or theory or abstract. And the third house is like hands on. Okay, you learn those spiritual principles. Now you go and apply them. Third house is self-made wealth as well. Third house is the second from the second, which is kind of again a money house. People, when the third house is activated, or people with third house strong, they usually make their own money through their skills, which a lot of us have to do now in this reality, though. 200-300 years, you might be but self-made wealth is using your brain, third house, using your skills, whatever they are, hands, intelligence, knowledge, to ideas to create wealth. So God might be also inviting you into try something new, maybe learn a new skill set, you know. And is it playing an instrument? Is it using AI? Is it some new skill set you're called and invited to learn, to apply? And so it's a lot about learning. You're being asked to learn practical things that are more rather than abstract. Uh, and this will give you, and it will show you that there is new opportunity for you. Third house is also people that you connect with, so new people can appear into your life, but it's already existing as well. And because it's an eclipse, third house is siblings, relatives, teammates, workmates, associates, people interact in your everyday level. There might be some crisis with one of those people in your life, whether it's a mate, whether it's a relative, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's a teammate, or whether it's someone you interact on social media or in real life, or a sibling. This crisis can push you into a new direction of communicating and a new way of connecting to people and how you express whatever you want to say and communicate. So it can, for example, be that, and because this new moon is with the south node, it's asking to might be like letting go of something so you can make space for something new, maybe letting go of some people so you make space for new set of people that will appear in your life over the next 3-4 months. uh, in your immediate environment. So there might be some crisis or a new beginning in the life of a sibling, or new neighbors can arrive. It can be as mundane as that. Oh, the neighbors are building something new. So in your third house, and I'm not saying this will create a crisis or anything, or maybe you start some new neighborhood initiative, or maybe a new acquaintance appears, or there might be some crisis in the relationships with colleagues, or some project. Third house is work project that you work in a team with 2 3 people or a few more. New business project that you're called to ask, or it might be just as simple as you're being asked with those 2 new moons, 1 eclipse, start a podcast, write something. Third house is writing, speaking, buy a new laptop, buy a new car, or you know because the universe might force you. Oh, something breaks with your car and you go and buy a new one. Or your laptop breaks and you go and buy a new one. I'm not saying all of you go and buy new cars and laptops. You'll see what it is. I'm just telling you, if something like that happens, you'd know, like, oh, okay, I need to renew my third house, communications. Or there might be, it can mean like a new trip, short distance, explore your environment in the city or in your country. Third house is that. Learn a new skill, connect to new people, start new business ventures, go to some meetings with others, something like that. So there you go, Cancer. This is for you. Your environment might become newer, some letting go of old beliefs that we talked and other. So this ninth house, third house, is quite on focus for you, but it's not nothing like extreme. And anyway, because it's axis of learning, both the third and the nine, of changing your mind, I think the biggest changes will be in your conscious and superconscious. The third house is the conscious, the logical mind, the everyday mind. The ninth house is the superconscious. This is where the biggest shifts are happening for you, which is the beginning of, it might not be visible to others, but when the shift happens, your future can change. And if you'd like to learn something and shift your consciousness, check out my course on the 3 periods of life. So, and how long each period of those is. Not how long you're going to live, but when each new period starts. And is it the first going to be easier? Is the second going to be more successful? Maybe the third one, maybe in your 60s or 70s, you're going to run the period of a planet that makes you super well off, fortunate, or who knows, the opposite. It's very ancient astrology and it's fascinating. And I'm obsessed with this technique. Check it out. And you don't need to even know astrology. I explain it in very easy terms. Leo Sun Moon Rising, September 2025, using tropical Western astrology. Leo, the month begins with Saturn moving back into your eighth house, where it's been for the last couple of years, but it moved back for 2 3 months and it's coming back for its last spiel there till February. And you have like a last opportunity now to solve some complicated emotional situation or some complicated financial situation, because when Saturn is in a sign or house for the last time, it tends to complete the problems if they exist, and it tends to wrap them up and give the resolution. But that might not happen immediately in September, because Saturn leaves this eighth house around February 2026. So don't expect immediately in September this to happen, but know that for the next 4 or 5 months, you might be working and being able to complete and solve an issue connected to, for example, financial restrictions of some sort, because the eighth house is one of the financial houses, especially if your financial resources come from a partner, or if they are dependent on others or government or some support. And if there is some complicated situation, you might have to solve it, and you have to solve it by the time Saturn leaves the eighth house. It will be solved in some way. So you might have to find an external or different source of financial support from external source, or if the situation of your husband or marriage partner has been financial, mutual finances together, joint finances has been more complex. You have 4 or 5 months to find the solution, which finally, when Saturn leaves, hopefully, and usually you should have found it, of such situation. and or even to work on some matters of inheritance, insurances, taxes that you can restructure in some way, or that you have to put some extra effort to complete or to unblock if they're blocked, or if you're expecting money, say from alimony or from someone having to pay you money, or or mortgage. Even eighth house is mortgage. You, or maybe your husband's been stuck, or partner, there, this is the time now, over the next 3, 4, 5 months, that this situation will be solved. It might not be easy because it is Saturn, but there will be some solution there to complete. And of course, every time Saturn is in Pisces, it finishes old karmic cycles because it's the last sign of the zodiac. And for you, it can be like old karmic cycle, for example, of it might have lasted 7 years, 14 years. Any of the Saturnian ages is 7, 14, 21, or 28 years even. For example, a karmic cycle or blockage of problems with, again, finances, or receiving from the universe back, or if you're always been like worried that you're not worthy, like you're to receive from others, and you're gonna work slowly and patiently, but with a final solution and ending of this karmic repeating process of not receiving enough from others, whether it's emotional, financial, material support, or your mutual finances, or always being in relationships where you put in more than the other puts in. This is kind of like a last chance now for 4 or 5 months to work through those issues and to solve them, to finally be finished with that karma. When Saturn moves into Aries from February, you completed a 28 or some other divided by 7 cycle. So say like, oh, it might be like you might have been sexually blocked, that you don't have, or that you're afraid of letting in. Maybe you were abused as a child. I don't know. Maybe someone abused your trust. Maybe you've given a finger and they took the hand. Maybe you trusted someone, because eighth house is all about this topics, deep intimacy, deep trust, and that trust was taken. I'm not saying for all of you Leos, but if you've had such thing, might have happened in childhood, or some trauma. Eighth house is the trauma house, where trust is betrayed, where one is controlling another, where one's power has been taken away, or where one is being controlled through money, through sex, through, threats even. If you've been in such kind of cycle, and you've noticed, or cycle of lack, that you can't receive from others, you can't ask from others, or that you always give more than you receive in some way, or if you're the opposite, you've been always taking a lot more than you're giving back, this will be shown to you now. But if you've been having such kind of a difficult loop, let's say for years or months, or that you've been in financial tightness, or in mutually, especially with another, or give and receive has been blocked, or the exchange of intimacy, even ability to open up sexually because of trauma or something, or to trust people, this is what Saturn and the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Pisces, are going to help you resolve, because the lunar eclipse lasts 3 months. The Saturn in your eighth house is 4 to 5 months. So again, it might not happen exactly on the day of the lunar eclipse, or Saturn entering your eighth house back. It can take a few months, but it's the completion of a karmic cycle. Pisces is the last sign, and it's about releasing and letting go and being healed from this, and the end of this kind of karma. So yeah. Also, you might have some profound psychological revelations, very deep, emotional, because full moon gives clarity. When it's an eclipse on that, it's even more potent. Clarity about certain subconscious patterns, certain secrets can come to the surface for you, Leos. Secrets that might shake some of you, I don't know, but this eclipse is trined by Jupiter, more like the secrets that appear, or the deep revelations and psychological breakthroughs, and psychological like sudden shifts how you feel about something, will be more freeing and for your good, rather than in a negative way. That, yes, there can be disruption. Eighth house about certain changes, disruptions, about something that the eighth house is the house where you need to get shaken or slapped so a big change can happen. The biggest transformations, usually the biggest transformations don't happen because you just wake up one morning. It's something to shift your consciousness and how you feel deeply about something, because for you this is Pisces. Sometimes some external earthquake can happen, should happen, or internal earthquake, because of which you really shift psychologically, and you even releasing certain attachments, because eighth house is where it's scorpionic house, where we get very like attached with the clothes and very, kind of we want to hold on to something a lot. But eighth house like wants you to release it at the same time. Any attachment is painful. All addictions are attachment that you can't shake up. Even being obsessed with someone, even being, everyone has some addiction, everyone has some obsession that they're hanging on for dear life, for emotional, as an emotional crutch. Well, this eclipse in Saturn there says if you have such things, you're working on them. And you have a lot of support from the universe. And with the eclipse there on the 7th and acting for the next 3 months, it can truly be much faster than what Saturn, because Saturn is slow, gradual, day by day. Uh, with the eclipse, it can make like a big psychological breakthrough, like I said. So yeah, this is the eighth house themes for you. Or also, let's say, if you've been putting a lot of hard efforts in some investment, eighth house can be money that you've put in pooled resources like hedge funds or stock market, with where you've pooled your money with others. Maybe they can be results now. Full moon eclipse with the Rahu, the North Node, can give some material results for you, can give some the resolution or of some sort like that. Or again, if you're expecting money from somewhere like mortgages, alimonies, support from another, there can be some change here, some very important development that starts solving this or bringing conclusion to it, or resolution of some sort. But also deep psychological insights, because eighth house is very emotional and transformational. And then we have another eclipse on the 21st in Virgo in your second house. Now that's very practical, down to earth house. The eighth house is so mystical, tumultuous. It's about secrets, the boothings, astrology, breakthroughs. Oh yeah, you can use that energy of Saturn and the eclipse in the eighth house to study either astrology or something occult or psychology, to study the deep motivations and secrets within the soul, and to untangle it, to untangle this enigmatic, just like traumas are enigmatic and the work of the deep subconscious. But eighth house is astrology as well, or human design, or any such kind of more esoteric systems. Might be, that's how for some of you, or some investigation with Saturn and the lunar eclipse, some investigation into something. For some of you, it can play out to dig to the bottom of something. And it's not just in September, as I said, it's a few months ahead. While the eclipse, the solar eclipse on the 21st at the last degree of Virgo is the second new moon in Virgo this year. The first one was in August 23rd. The second one is on September 21st. This is very rare to have two new moons in the same house. It's sign. It's like a God is pointing your head there. It's like you have to start something new here. While the eighth house is asking you to detach, to release, to detach from trauma, to release all traumas, to release all things that you're really like holding on for dear life to, and not to be afraid of the unknown, not to be afraid of letting go of those things. Well, this two new moons in your second house is like the universe saying, now look here for the whole September, the whole October, and a few months after, because solar eclipse acts for 6 months. So for the next 3, 4, 5 months, you have an opportunity to start something new. Opportunity, and that something new is not, it's bigger, and that's connected to your second house, to your self-worth, to your value, to revalue yourself in a different way. Do you value what you consider tasty, beautiful, attractive, worthy to invest your time, money, and energy in? There can be some kind of a crisis even there that pushes you to reevaluate your values, to change your style of aesthetic, taste of food, to try new food, even to try new ways of looking, to try second house is the face. Second house is like to change your in a new way, to renew it in some way. And but this solar eclipse is with the south node, which requires some kind of sacrifice as well, giving up so the new can come. So giving up some kind of food, style, or something that you're uh, used to, because second house is very much about what we're used to, for something new to come. Or maybe you start something, you start a new diet, or you start a new way of looking, and you detach from the old after that. But second house is also money, finances, resources, stability, assets. So again, it's like an opportunity for you to think of a new alternative way of financial income, of financial stability, to reimagine your finances or what you consider valuable. Maybe you've been spending till now money on hats and shoes and I don't know, something, and now something shakes up inside of you and you're like, no, this is not worth my energy, my resources. Instead, I'm gonna start investing or spending money in something else. So that's how the second house eclipse can play out for you. And it's a long-term influence, and it's second one of new moons. And it's also another way to be. Second house is about self-sufficiency, you finding resources that are more aligned with you, but you might have to let go of some other resources. And maybe for some of you, it might be like, oh, till now we've been connected to the electric circle. Now we're gonna source our own energy with solar panels or something like that. So you give up one source of energy, which is second house, against one source of resources, and you are drawn to a new source of resources. Or maybe you give up one way of sustaining your body, how you eat. So the second house is the energy, the food, how we eat, the money, those things that keep us alive and going into a new direction. So there you go, Leos. There is a lot about your values. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to say, eighth house is also other people's values. Second house is your values. So those two eclipses are trying to say that you need like something to shift about how much you give, how much you receive, how much others give, how much you to balance it in some way, to make it more fair, more sustainable. I hate this word, but yeah, this month is very much about releasing what is not necessary in the eighth house, the attachment, psychological, emotional traumas, or even dependency on another, to become more financially independent as well through the second house, and more resourceful, to open yourself to your own resourcefulness, that and ability to create abundance. Thank you. Virgo, sun, moon, or rising. Virgo, what a month. At the end of August, on the 23rd, there was a new moon in Virgo at 0 degrees. And there will be another new moon in Virgo on the 21st of September at the last degree of Virgo, 29 degrees. This is rare. We usually get just one new moon in each sign every year. But when this happens, I don't know when was the last time this happened in Virgo, haven't checked even. Was it years? Was it decades or longer? When this happens, it means like a big exclamation mark, like a big, God is trying to get your attention in for you, because you're Virgo, whether it's your sun, moon, or rising. The universe is giving you an opportunity, not just giving you, demanding up from you to start something new. New moons are about new beginnings. And on the 21st of September is not just a new moon, but it's a solar eclipse at around 29 degrees, exactly the last degree in Virgo. So like the beginning of Virgo, the end of Virgo, two new beginnings, all Virgos are required in some area of their life to renew or to start something brand new. And again, it's already started this process from August. So you're given 1 month, then another month with the new moon in Virgo again for new beginnings. But this is eclipse, which gives 6 months duration. So 6, 7 months for Virgos to renew their life, a new chapter to start. And because it's in your first house, say your ascendant in Virgo, you might be asked to take on a new path and direction of life over the next 6, 7 months that you start feeling it already in September. You might be asked to start on a new journey with your body and health, or just a new chapter somehow. The ascendant is all of those things. New role that you are asked to play, or that you get a new role, I don't know, becoming a mother, or new role in a new career, some new name, some new role that you're going to be playing, or redefinition of who you are, what you want. What, because the first house is you if it's your ascendant in Virgo. With the sun, it's possibly a new role career wise, or a new role for how to fulfill the sun is creating the autonomous life. The sun is about creating an autonomous life where you can be the king in that life and where you can take the decisions, and rather than being dependent on a system. So if it's your sun sign in Virgo, these two new beginnings that is so rare within a month, with an eclipse there, is trying to get you the attention that you might be asked to start on a path of independence of some sort, or to get serious about creating the world, the life that you have as a vision for yourself. So new beginnings, new initiatives, even from the end of August, the whole September, into the whole October. It continues for 6 months, this eclipse. If it's your moon in Virgo, might be like a new chapter, new direction in your life, personal life, about your needs, to recognize what your needs are, to start new emotional intelligence direction. Or the moon is very much connected about relationships, emotional attachments. The moon is very much about your habits, your attachments, a new direction for you, Virgos, in that, if you're Virgo moon. Or emotional, this can be, the moon often symbolizes your most loved people, the parents, the spouse, the closest people. Like, you're asking, if it's your moon in Virgo, the eclipse and the two new moons there, to take on a new path, those relationships. And because the new moon eclipse is happening with the south node, so new moon is new beginnings. Eclipse is very fated, something that can really change your life, and that is part of your soul contract that realigns your soul somehow on the spot. But the south node is the very revolutionary eclipses, evolutionary and revolutionary, and it can start with a crisis sometimes when it's in the first house, about crisis about who you are, what you want out of life, where you're headed, what your priorities are. But it's also very revolutionary because you can do the change faster usually. It's like a big shift in your whole vibration, in your whole aura. And so, yeah, your definition of who you are, new path possible as well for you, Virgos. But because it's with the south node, it requires some kind of, this new beginning, some kind of sacrifice, maybe leaving parts of yourself behind, parts of who you believed you are, parts of certain roles that you play to leave behind. So you can step into those new roles, into those new visions for yourselves and beginnings. Or it can act in a different way. The new thing can appear, the new inspiration, the new idea, the new direction. And because you focus your energies there, a lot of old parts of you, parts of your lifestyle, or self identity, can, as a result, just be released, because there is this energy of new beginnings, but also releasing something. And because Virgo is a very practical sign, They might be connected a lot to the practical side of life, to solving a problem, to create security, to create more efficiency, those new roles, new beginnings that you're starting, to be more efficient, At the same time, we have Saturn from the 1st of September entering your seventh house, where it was for a couple of years already. Maybe a lot of changes with relationships and introspection there, or correction, of course. And Saturn coming back for the next 5 months. So from the whole September, October, November, December, and January, Saturn will be in your seventh house again. Actually, only the last 5, 6, 7 degrees of Virgos will feel the exact aspect of Saturn over the next 5 months. So born from 24, 25 degrees in Virgo till 30 degrees in Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. That would be the last days of Virgo if it's your Sun, kind of like till September 20, from the 16th to the 22nd of September, something like that. But people born those days, I mean. But all Virgos are given a chance to, for the last time, to change something about their relationships. And not only Saturn moving back into your seventh house, Virgo, asking you to restructure your relationships, to tie loose ends, to correct unfair relationships. Say someone is not honest with you and you cut ties. Saturn doesn't tolerate someone who is, wishy-washy, who is not clear-cut, who is leading you on. And if there is such people in your life, Saturn makes you discriminate through them much more clearly. And to cut, Saturn is this death with the scythe, to weed out the roots, to weed out the weeds from the roots from the people in your life. Maybe someone is being a bad influence on you. Doesn't matter, but there might be some adjustment to who you are, who is in your life, especially those people you consider your equals, you on a daily one-on-one exchanges. Seventh house can be also clients, and maybe you can revise and restructure your attitude towards clients, or what clients you're trying to attract. Maybe like narrow the pool of clients to the most quality ones instead of like anyone, and to give more. Saturn wants more quality control, more elegance there, and simplicity. So a lot of people can fall off that are not that are maybe complicating your life, that are detracting from the simplicity and elegance of your life, that are overcomplicating your life, for example. Either they're clients or personal relationship, or maybe a partner. And you see there is an eclipse there that lasts 3 months, lunar eclipse on the 7th in Pisces, on the 7th, and Saturn is there for 5 months. So they work together for the next 3-4 months, and Saturn even 5 months, to make some turnaround, some change in your interpersonal relationships. And even the circumstances of your business partner or marriage partner can change with this eclipse now and Saturn. And the certain contracts can fall off, certain obligations to others. Saturn is about detachment. Full moon eclipses is about letting go as well. And Pisces is a sign of letting go. But it allows something new to enter, because the eclipse is with the north node, which allows, even though lunar eclipses are about completion, ending, seeing results, it allows something new to enter. Or maybe a certain side of how you relate to others, how you connect to others can be changed. Also, Pisces is very a sign of, as we know, completions, endings. You can have some very powerful realizations about important people in your life. Or maybe your partner can have some breakthrough or change that is impacting you as well. Maybe, for example, if they've worked hard on something, they might get a promotion, because Saturn can reward hard work. Eclipses can also shift the direction of one's life, and that can have an impact on you as well. So something can shift in the primary relationships in your life that affect you as well. And it's an eclipse, but some of the best things happen due to eclipses as well. And some of the most shocking things happen due to eclipses. Which one is going to play out? I mean, this eclipse is trine Jupiter. So we have some hope there that there is help, clarity, So there can be some resolution of a complex situation over the next 3-4 months of your partner, completion of something they've been doing, or completion of a relationship. Or if you've been working in a partnership on some project, it might be that you concentrate on that for the next 3-4 months, to complete it if you're working together with another. What else? Pisces is the last sign. And when Saturn is transiting there, and eclipse is also activating this last sign in astrology, but for you, it's in relationships. It shows that this can be the ending of karma, which is connected to relationships. Say, example, a karmic cycle. And Saturn's karmic cycles, they work in 7, 14, 21, or 28, 27 years, kind of 28, average 7 years. Full cycle of Saturn is 28 years. So think back, some of you, if you're older, if you've been encountering a persistent situation in life with relationships where people might be too critical towards you, or don't appreciate you, or difficult relationships, or your partner's been having problems, whether it's a few years or more than a few years, something that's a bit longer lasting, but it's connected to others. Maybe this can end now in the next 4 or 5 months, because Saturn and the eclipse are clearing the old, they're resolving old karma, and it's like a change there. You start on a clean slate. So if you've been seeing, say, repeatedly problems in relationships, repeatedly for years problems with clients or others, or anything like that, or others don't keep their promises to you, or you can't keep your promises, or you yourself you're not a relationship person, well, this can be how the resolution of such long-standing karma. Virgos. But yeah, you see the focus is on the axis of the first and the seventh house. And it's not just this month, it's for a while. The new beginnings are you're starting new beginnings, your identity, kind of some rebirth with 2 new moons and an eclipse, especially the later degrees Virgo, the eclipse will catch them very strongly on the 21st. So those that are born, say, from 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Virgo, the biggest fated transformations will be happening for them, maybe not on the 21st of September, 6 months, within 6 months after that, a new beginning and so on. And also there is this need to balance your needs with others' needs, to prioritize a bit yourself as well. And those new beginnings, and even some big new change might be happening, big change in important close person to you, like a marriage person, partner, business partner. And because of that, you might also have to shift yourself and your direction. So yeah, interesting. The eclipses are most potent for you. All degrees of Virgos, I mean, the early degrees of Virgos, they had the new moon in August. The middle degrees of Virgo, they have the lunar eclipse opposite them, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Virgo. They have the lunar eclipse, which is about completion, seeing results, completing, or even getting back rewards for efforts put back, or endings. But again, it can happen through crisis. And then the later degrees Virgo, they have the solar eclipse on the 21st, and the last 5 degrees, and Saturn opposing them. So I think like the latest degrees of Virgo will see the biggest shifts, the middle degrees, with the lunar eclipse as well. But a very interesting month where fates can change, fate, the winds, and everything connected to you. So good luck. The universe has your eye on you. 2 new moons and an eclipse. You're playing major role now, and you are, because of the 2 new moons, I think you'll have a lot more free will to choose the direction, because new moons doesn't carry karmic heaviness from before, but it depends on you because it's in your house. Wow. Full moons, they carry something that has started already. It's not so, it's been put in action earlier, maybe earlier generations, earlier incarnations, earlier months, earlier. So the full moon, it's somehow dependent on others, but the things that you can change where you have the free will is with the new moons in your sign to take the new direction. Thank you, Virgo, and come join me for my 2-hour webinar on the 3 periods of life, how to calculate them, how to interpret them, which part of life qualitatively and quantitatively, which part of life is more successful, compare it to the first, to the second, to the third. Maybe in your 60s you're meant to become wealthy, happy, and successful, or maybe in your 20s you're ending difficult period, the first difficult period, or if it was, and starting a much more successful one, or the opposite. So let's find out. Thank you. Libra Sun Moon Rising, September 2025, Tropical Western Astrology. Libra Saturn is moving back into your sixth house where it was already for a couple of years, but it's coming for one last time till February, almost 5 months. And it at the same time, on the 7th of September, there will be a lunar eclipse in the same sixth house in Pisces for you. So the topics of the sixth house become very prominent because a lunar eclipse lasts for 3 months its duration, the influence that you can see the manifestation, while Saturn will stay in your sixth house as well till February 2026. So it means that the topics of the sixth house become quite urgent or quite important for you from September for a few months. So even if it doesn't happen immediately in September, you would see the unfolding of this over till next year, basically, till the end of January. And what is the sixth house? Sixth house is about, and Saturn is allowing you one last time to put your life in order. Sixth house is, it has like Virgo energy, organization, habits, routines, taking care of your health. This can become a priority for you. Hopefully it's not going to be through some crisis situation where a health problem comes, so you have now to stop eating something or to start exercising or to change your lifestyle and habits, but it might be just that your consciousness is focused there more and it's calling you like a priority. It's time now. And the eclipse will really help you release old unhealthy habits. Saturn is about detachment as well. Its highest vibration is detachment. Its highest vibration is weeding out the unhealthy, the thing that overburdens you. And the sixth house, it can be overburdening habits or habits that are not good for you, that are taking from your health. And eclipses, lunar eclipses, are about releasing something, and it's in Pisces. Pisces is really the sign that allows you to release the most, is the final sign. And also, so it can, for example, you might be able over the next few months to really release a bad habit. I don't know, for some of you, it might be eating candy, for others, might be something that you are very doing repeatedly, like a routine, staying on your phone. Or for others, it might be eating something unhealthy. For others, might be releasing some addiction or some physical or psychological or emotional dependence on a substance or anything else that you do on a daily level. So fantastic time if you have to improve your health. The eclipse can really help you shift your consciousness, have a deep emotional realizations about the importance of healthier living, and possibly restructuring. Saturn to help you restructure those routines and embed the new routines that can stay with you for the next 27 years almost. So big shifts you can do and breakthrough there with some efforts as well. Saturn is there. Or Pisces always is the last sign. It's in your sixth house. So when Saturn is transiting there, it completes a long cycle, maybe a cycle that started on previous Saturn activation. Saturn activates every 7 years. So maybe something, if you've had a health problem for 7, 14, 21, 27 years even, if you had some repeating health issue, or if you had some repeating self-medicating issue, some unhealthy habit that you've been struggling and you wonder why you cannot get rid of it, Saturn, or if you had some difficult karma connected to work, not being able to find, and again, this is not a new issue. This is something that's been with you for a while. Maybe the earliest is the last 2 years, but maybe 7 years, 14, 21, 27. If you've had repeating pattern somewhere that, like almost like a blockage from the universe, that things don't go well with work or with your health or with taking care of your health or with debt or with enemies. Sixth house is connected to animosity, criticism, being self-criticizing, other criticizing you, blaming you. If you've had such dynamics for a long time in your life, both the eclipse, which is purging, eclipses are very purging, very sudden shifts in consciousness, in karma, in the layers of your soul, and Saturn, which is deeply restructuring, can help now in those few months to end this cycle so you can start on a clean slate. So the health changes that you make, the job changes, the work changes that you do now, your daily habits changes can have a profound and influence on you for many years, and you can be freed from such ones or such karma that has been blocking you. Also, it can be, if you've been working on some, maybe some of you might be asked to pick up some work project that you haven't completed. Something comes to you that needs to be, and it's not only just for job, maybe some errand, some duty, some service that you haven't completed, that the next few months, starting from September, you would focus on them, get the work done, complete it, be freed from it after that. Might happen even faster than 4 or 5 months, for some of you can mean the ending of some job and the ending, completing some project, and you're seeing the results of it and the rewards, because Saturn and lunar eclipses with the North Node can be very rewarding on a material level if you've put the hard efforts before that and the right actions, coupled with right moral actions there in regards to your health, in regards to your work, as I said, and this can free you. I mean, maybe not immediately in September. As I said again, there can be 3, 4 months duration of this influence. Or you can start to complete how the process of your work, change something there, restructure so you can be, again, as I said, more efficient, more organized. You can do things faster with more precision. Virgo and Saturn is very, sixth house and Saturn is very like an auditor energy. And you might be, you might some project that you have to put efforts in it, change and so on, that becomes, or fixing something. Sixth house is very like, let me fix something, make it better, improve it, perfect it. That's where you can put a lot of your, or some of your energy. And at the same time, at the end of August, on the 23rd, we had a new moon in your 12th house, which is new beginnings, but 12th house is endings. For Libra is always kind of mixed, reversed. And there is another new moon in Virgo on the 21st of September. It's very rare to have 2 new moons one after another. And it's calling us for, universe is giving us more time for new beginning, because obviously it's necessary there. And for you, and this second new moon in Virgo is actually an eclipse. Eclipse lasts for 6 months. So the universe is saying here, you're renewing your efforts to complete something, or to let go of something, or renew, or to complete a chapter in your life in some way. New beginning in the house of endings. That's interesting, 12th house, it can mean that there is a new beginning for some of you over the next 5, 6 months, with 2 new moons there and a solar eclipse in a foreign country, or with foreign, faraway people, or new interests about foreign culture. 12th house is unknown places, foreign culture or lifestyle. Or maybe for some of you, it can unlock this eclipse and two new moons, interest towards the metaphysical, the otherworldly, the invisible worlds, to connect to the invisible worlds in some way, or even inspiration. 12 houses where we can download information, inspiration from the invisible worlds, get messages from there. We can do dream work, for example, or intuition, unlocking of your intuition with either specific exercises. Virgo would like a plan to follow, but if you do on dream work, 12 houses also work with a psychologist, work with a therapist, work with a healer, work with a priest or a pastor if you want, or work with a spiritual mentor of some sort. Some new beginning in such areas of life. So either foreign places, or maybe unlocking interest to a foreign place, or maybe unknown, unlocking interest for you about unknown territories of your subconscious, of your psyche. Yeah, but there is this eclipse is also about releasing, because it's with the south node. So again, there is this theme of releasing something from the past that you're freed from. So it is interesting, Libra. It's not directly affecting your sign. It's in the 6th, it's in the 12th house. There is the need to balance between work and getting things done and being organized, in the 6th house, and following routines and duties and obligations. And the 12th house, which is about taking time to rest, taking time to improve your sleep, which is 12th house. So even taking time on a holiday, and both themes are active for you, and you have to balance them in some way. The practical responsibility and the renewal of the soul. The 12th house is one of the most soulful house. And with this new moon eclipse there might be some secrets as well that come to the surface. Some or interest in some research or investigating some unknown area. 12 houses on a more material level, it's doing research, studying something, or visiting some new countries. So I hope that's for us. My husband is Libra ascendant. I'm planning on taking him on a Euro trip in September and early October, because the eclipse is towards the end of September. And that will be his 12th house. I remember when he had eclipses 9 years ago in his 12th house, but Jupiter was also then. That was the first time he went out of the States. He's never been before. And in 1 month, we visited 12 countries. So who knows? I hope I hope it's this positive. Otherwise, 12th house can be about losses with this eclipse, or expenses. So we hope it doesn't unlock such topics. So we stick to the positive ones. And something old is dying and something new is coming there through those more mystical experiences that you're going to have, or experiences in unknown places, or exploring your subconscious, or invitation into your inner world somehow. So yeah, interesting. Either research as well. 6 and 12 house are also known for being the mental health, mental balance, that, past lives. 12 houses, past lives, locked in memories as well, locked in traumas and memories. This eclipse for some of you might unlock, not past life traumas, but the understanding for them, the understanding to find a solution to some long-standing problem, which stems from forgotten memories, is the 12th house, or connection with aliens, whatever. But yeah, Saturn and the lunar eclipse in the 6th house is inviting you to take better care of your health, as I said, and to finish karma connected to poor health or sickness, or job problems of any sorts. And the 12th house eclipse is asking you to trust God more. 12th house is one of the houses of God. To trust even if you feel you don't know where you're going, the plan of the higher forces. So thank you. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising, September 2025. tropical Western astrology. Scorpio, on the 1st of September, Saturn is moving back into your fifth house, where it's already been for the last couple of years, but it's going for one last visit. And at the same time, 7 days later, there is a full moon eclipse also in your fifth house. So, two very potent cosmic events. Saturn will be in your fifth house for 5 months. The lunar eclipse acts for 3 months, so maybe not immediately in September, but you are given like a time period of 3 to 5 months to really get in order the matters of the fifth house, which is, for example, maybe to complete, Saturn wants to complete some old project, business or creative project, because fifth house is our original thinking, our own ideas. So if you have a business which is your own original idea, not like some laundromat that you make, everyone has, but even if you have a laundromat or whatever, you might, have started some up branding to make it different, to make it feel more special, more unique. Fifth house is about doing things more uniquely. So maybe some unique idea that you had, whether for business or personal life or creativity, coming back to complete it. It might be what you're busy with. Maybe to complete some exhibition paintings that you've been doing and to have it presented to the public within those 3 to 5 months. Or maybe fifth house can also be your children or romantic partners. So they can be like some kind of change and focus that you need to do with your romantic relationships. Full moon eclipse is about completing, ending something, or seeing the results of it. Saturn is about weeding out with the roots, the things that are not wholesome. So for some of you, it might mean in the next 3 to 5 months, there can be removal of something that is not very healthy for you romantically. Might be a partner that is removed, might be a situation romantically that you pull yourself away from and you put certain rules and boundaries there, and restructure how you're gonna lead your romantic life from now on. And of course, it can start with some crisis. It's an eclipse after all. But this eclipse is trine Jupiter. So no matter what happens, it's for your good. Because when Jupiter is trine, it's trying to uplift you. It's going to give you support and help from external or internal sources to resolve whatever issue is there. Also, it can mean that you are shifting your relationships with your children. Maybe in the life of your children, there might be grown-up children in their 40s and 50s, or there might be little children. It's also your creations, the fifth house. There might be some change happening in their life, and this impacts you in some way. Of course, as a parent, it will impact you. And it can be a very wonderful change. Or maybe that they're putting their life together, or maybe they go to the next level of maturity, the next chapter of their life. Also, because this is romantic energy, we first spoke about Saturn having the energy of weeding out, and full moon eclipses about completions and endings, but they have another meaning as well. Saturn can mean commitment, deeper commitment, while eclipse can mean that something is giving results. So if you're in a good romantic relationship, this eclipse and Saturn there together in the fifth house, and you'll know if you're in a good romantic relationship, you know and you feel it. If you're in a toxic, unhealthy, unbalanced one, the other side of the Saturn and the eclipse is more likely to happen, which we talked about earlier, which is completions, release. If you're in a good such ones, it will be the next stage of it over the next 3 to 5 months, so to speak, taking it to the next level in some way. And of course, it can be about conception, children. We spoke about that. So yeah, our fifth house is also how you have fun, how you really enjoy yourself, allow yourself to be seen, allow yourself to shine, allow yourself to be creative as a child, to have fun. Some people do sports and play tennis. Other people swim. Third people listen to music or create music. This is not passive entertainment, the fifth house. This is not zoning out like 12th house to relax, watching TV or melt into nature. Fifth house is how you, when you're in the flow, and we call it hobbies, or going to, to enjoy yourself, dancing, hobbies, playing sports. So there is an emphasis on that area. Some of you might even come back to some old hobbies that they haven't done for a while. Others might complete hobbies or ways of entertaining themselves that are not as wholesome, that is not as supportive, and possibly make space for new such ways. And because sometimes we have fun by going out, drinking, partying as well. But yeah, there is this, and fifth house on a deep psychological level, it's about confidence. And it's one of the self houses, identities houses. So there can be a shifting and restructuring of your identity. Fifth house is our natural talents, that's what you're really good at. Someone might have like a natural way to express themselves, how we express themselves through song, another through spoken word, like me. I have Gemini in the fifth house. Others, you in particular, Scorpios, have a natural talent to express yourself through Piscean ways, which is through connection, through heart, through spirituality, expressing yourself through music, through visuals, through art as well, through deep compassion. Well, somehow you might discover deeply buried such natural talent in yourself during those transits as well, or discover and have illumination about what your natural talents are if you've buried them till now and if you're not sure, or remind yourself what you are naturally good at. Maybe as a child, the Saturn retrograde energy there can remind you you have some talent that you buried, you didn't let shine. And the eclipse, the lunar eclipse on the 7th, that lasts 3 months, can ask you to, illuminate it, full moon, to come under the spotlight. And those of you who are artists, performers, singers, or people like entertainers, or people who are in the spotlight, or politicians, or who need to be in the public somehow, fifth house is the house of fame, is the house of performance. Something very important might be happening for them. Eclipse can even give fame, or it can give some, I don't know, some opportunity, or maybe you've been trying to find a role, and Saturn and an eclipse there can start things moving, or some developments around that time, around those topics. And at the same time, there is another eclipse on the 21st of September that is going to happen in your 11th house and in Virgo. And there was already one new moon in Virgo on the 23rd of August. And now another new moon in Virgo on the 21st of September. We always have one new moon per month in a sign. But this year is exception. One was at 0 Virgo, the eclipse is at 29 Virgo. So somehow the universe crammed two new moons in the same sign or house for you, as we call it. And that for you, Scorpios, it's a big invitation and a prolonged time as an opportunity to start something new, because new moons and a new moon eclipse, it's like a 6-month duration. So almost 6-7 months ahead, the universe is giving you a possibility, which will start now, probably September, October, because September is all under the influence of a new moon in Virgo in your 11th house. So is October, all under the influence of the eclipse new moon in Virgo in your 11th house. A big invitation, very rare, to a new beginning, maybe new friendships, to open new people, to open yourself to new people into your life. And because it's with the South Node, there is also the energy of letting go. So maybe you open yourself to new circle of friends, to new people who influence you, to new followers, to new clients instead of the same ones. And organically, the old ones, the old friends, will kind of leave or disconnect a bit, or the old kind of clientele source, or the old kind of pool of social environment around you can let go because of the South Node energy with the eclipse. Or you let go of some crisis or whatever, you let go of some friendship, or social connection, and that makes space. It can either first the letting go and then the new, or the new and then the letting go. It can make space for the new, more aligned with your faith and direction, because eclipses want to align you to your path, to your faith, more aligned and more useful for you as well. Friendships or acquaintances or connections. That's interesting. My son is a Scorpio rising and Scorpio ascendant, and this new moon eclipse will be in his 11th house, and he's starting back school, but with newer kids. Yeah, that's interesting. They'll be like they change like the classes and so on. So that works for him. But of course, there is an eclipse on the 21st there. So there might be some crisis. It might be not all eclipses start with crisis. They're just the energy, because a bit more shocking, it can feel like a crisis sometimes, but like a new direction. But 11th house is also other things. You're being invited by the universe, not just to build new bridges and let new people, and maybe they're more spiritual people because the South Node is part, but also Saturn is opposition. There might be like a crisis in existing relationships and friendships first that leads to your new approach to your social environment or clients or whatever. Then, or new, it can be like an invitation or a push for a new marketing strategy, because 11th house is about spreading and connecting to more people. So marketing campaigns, business campaigns. The 11th house is house of long-term goals, long-term plans and strategies for success. It's a very ambitious house. It's a house that, uh, it's connected to big business, to goals, to dreams. So the universe is inviting you for a new dream. And maybe some old dream will be released and, fade away to a new goal, long-term goal, project. If you're working in a business, maybe you're starting some big new project, and it might take a few months even. As I said, this is not just September, October influence. Or a new source of earning. 11th house is the salary you get, or it's the money the business makes. And to maybe so you find new source of income or new source of gains or project that will lead to gains, or social acceptance or social recognition. And in the process of that, some old priorities fall away. But this is not like some luck that falls into your lap. 11th house is about hard work. It's long-term goals. You can't reach them without hard work and dreams, and Saturn opposing this eclipse says, yeah, you have to work hard, and maybe you have to let go, because Neptune is also opposite. Some disillusion, some dreams of yours that you see are not realistic anymore. That, like, your bubble might be burst about some dream or desire of yours, because 11th house is strongly connected with desires that we want, what we want to achieve, while finding you a more realistic one or more aligned to your path. So yeah, 11th house is those things, gainfulness, but the gainfulness, you're not getting it now. You're starting something now, September, October, and even a few months that can lead to more gainfulness. So this 5th house, 11th house, and you might have to balance the things that you really love doing with what society expects from you. 5th house is what we want to do, our, fun time, or what society expects from you. There might be some struggle there, or the need to balance or find some solution, or your own creative projects, you have some original idea, you have to balance it somehow, with, because you're allowed now and you're given time to work on creative projects, like we said, original ideas. But the 11th house is about bringing them out to the public, or monetizing them, or making those original ideas be seen and be used and help society in some way. So there is this dynamic that is, for Scorpios, that is, activated for them. So, like, how do you complete a creative project, an original idea, so you can bring it out and reach out the correct clients, the correct source of people, or and which one is like this is what I think the fifth house, and this is what society wants. And here you're invited with the new moons to consider what society wants, to be open to it, while completing your vision the way you want it. Your fifth house is also how you want to live your life, the best way you want to live your life. So to find a balance between those two, not just balance, but to attune and also to allow it to reach a wider circle, whatever your creation is. But the original ideas will be there, the illumination and the 11th house is how do I make them reach to others? How do I monetize them? Or how do I make others like those ideas as well? Or there might be the need to balance, personal life, go out, party, have fun, uh, or what my romantic partner wants versus what my friends want, or what society expects from me as responsibilities here versus what I want to do instead, the fifth house, what I find more fun. Oh, my poor baby. Yeah, you have to comply to social requirements in the 11th house, what's expected of him versus, because Saturn can also plug a little bit the having fun part when it's in the fifth house. Yeah, and because of having to do something more reasonable and it's more responsible, more serious. So yeah, very interesting dynamics here. Fifth, 11th house topics: lovers, romantic relationships, natural talents, and connecting to others, friendships, and how it goes. It's eclipses after all. Let's see. Is it through crisis? Is it through revelation? Is it through exciting release and opportunity? We'll see. Thank you so much, Scorpio. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, September 2025 for tropical Western astrology. Sagittarius, the eclipses are going to be happening right on the axis, square you, in the fourth and 10th house. So Sagittarius will be much more activated than other signs this month, together with Pisces, Virgo, of course, and Gemini. So let's start first on the 1st of September. Saturn is moving back into your fourth house. It was in your fourth house for the last couple of years, but then it moved for 2, 3 months into your fifth house and coming back to the fourth house. It will square in the next 5 months the very last degrees of Sagittarius, those who have the sun, moon, or ascendant from around 24, 25, the last 5 degrees till 30 degrees in Sagittarius. So they would be asked to make, like, to put the more efforts, to make some important decisions, to prioritize. But for all Sagittarius, Saturn coming back into your fourth house wants you to complete something you haven't finished in regards to maybe some family responsibilities, to restructure how you as a parent or your relationships with parents, maybe to take care of some parent, for example, or the affairs of an estate or real estate, or if you're trying to sell or buy property, maybe to do some last corrections and be able to be free of it within the next 5 months till Saturn moves out fully from the fifth house. So it might be required to put more efforts, attention, focus, um, and patience as well in family matters, emotional matters, psychological matters, and even to clear up some debris, some waste, because Saturn is the cleaner, in regards to maybe old wounding from your childhood or ancestral pattern of some sort. And it's not only Saturn that will be there alone for the next 5 months. There is simultaneously on the 7th of September, pretty much, an eclipse in your fourth house. An eclipse can really speed up the processes then, really allow you, and this is a lunar eclipse, which allows you to release baggage, to complete some family karma. And especially think back for the last few years, especially in 7, 14, 21, or 28 years, you might have been, or even longer periods of Saturn, you might have been in a, especially if you've seen a repeating pattern for a long time where some difficulties with property, can't find the right house, or can't own property, or if you've been having issues with parents or with your extended family, you feel like the black sheep, or you're maybe distance from each other, or if you've been having problems somehow like becoming a parent, or or repeating some issue that is ancestral in nature that your parents did, your grandparents did, your uncles, and so on. Well, because the eclipse and Saturn is in the 12th sign, Pisces, they're coming back there, but it's in your fourth house. It's about cleaning up the slate, and so you can start anew. So if there have been some repeat problems, as I said, all those things, either with real estate, in your personal life, or with emotional happiness, if you can find if you can't find your roots, if you don't feel you belong, if you don't feel loved, if you have consistent patterns that not meeting your needs, or repeating the same mistakes of your parents, or having some difficult karma with your parents, the next 3 to 5 months, both the eclipse and Saturn will work and help you clean that slate. So this difficult karma in regards to the fourth house, which is very personal life house, will be like wiped clean, so you can start anew. And there might be indeed some separation, some disconnection or letting go, maybe having to move from one place to another, because fourth house is places where we live. Let go of one house so you can live in another. Let go of one area to be in another, to end this karma, because even places have karma. Or sometimes it can be even completing one way of behaving with your family. It doesn't necessarily mean like I'm like, unless they're very toxic, don't break connections with your parents, or at least you can heal that karma. Pisces is a very healing sign. Saturn wants to fix problems, and of course, the eclipse can create some emotional realignment for you, where you release certain pain and realign yourself, so you clear up this family karma and family ancestral patterns. But on a more material level, it can indicate that September, October, November, even December into January, changing place of living, restructuring something at home. Maybe, yes, there might be some situations in your family that requires your attention, that requires your efforts, and some important decision to be taken. And at the same time, on the 21st of September, we have another eclipse, which is in the opposite house, the 10th house. And this is a new moon eclipse, which is about new beginnings. The solar eclipse is powerful new beginnings. New solar eclipse is a new moon, but on steroids, as they call it. But that's not the first new moon in your 10th house this year. It's very rare, maybe once in a blue moon, as they call it. This is blue moon. To have either two full moons in the same sign, or two new moons in the same sign. So once in a blue moon, very rare, two new beginnings are allowed. So not two new, but like an extended period of time in regards to your career, in regards to your worldly status, in regards to your work. And even if you're not working, if you're, say, retired, or maybe you're a homemaker, it's about you still have some duties and responsibilities. So to open up, the universe is giving you a chance with this. Two new moons, one which is influencing the whole of September, and the second one is influencing the next 6 months, which is on the 21st of September, because it's not just new moon for a month, it's a solar eclipse 6 months ahead. To make a powerful new beginning, you're given a chance, for example, with a new career. But that will require you to do some sacrifice, or letting go and releasing of maybe another career, or another way of approaching your career, or maybe to start a new project and release some old projects, or maybe to have a new boss, or to start to kind of renew your relationship with your father. Father figure is usually the 10th house, or some authority figure in your life. Or maybe the ancients say eclipses in your 10th house means you can become like a king. New moon eclipse maybe to lay the foundations over the next few months for your own legacy, for your own authority. So you can be the master of your life. So you can make the executive decisions in your life. Is it through a career? Is it through a business? Is it through some really kind of prioritizing? And sometimes it can start through a crisis, because this eclipse, the second one in Virgo, new moon, new beginnings, is opposite Saturn and Neptune. Maybe some disillusionment with the career direction till now, all your worldly responsibilities, and realization of what truly matters, and realigning within a few months to a new career direction, or to a new project, or to new responsibilities in life, or to new authority, where you take on some new responsibilities, you take on some new duties. 10th house, the house of action. So this eclipse can activate you into mobilize your willpower to act. And of course, becoming like a king means maybe a promotion, working, laying the foundations of promotion, or some other elevated plan there of your mission, stepping up into your mission. I don't know. I remember when I had an eclipse in the 10th house, I think it was with the North Node rather than with the South Node, but my business grew a lot right after this eclipse, from one-man band to suddenly 15 other astrologers overnight. Eclipses can do things overnight. But yeah, it can come with a crisis, say, oh, this job or this career or the direction of my life, or I don't want to do these responsibilities anymore. And then it will, because the Saturn is a bit more stressful planet, it's part of this eclipse. And then to realign you to the right path. Remember, eclipses want to realign you to what is truly part of your destiny. And they can do it in a shocking way sometimes, or like in an inspiration way. I wish for you that it happens this way. And yeah, so there it is. And there is the need with one strong influence for 3 to 4 months in your fourth house. So what your needs, your personal life, your family priorities, with also another influence of 6 months there in your 10th house of the eclipse, what the world expects from you, what your worldly responsibilities are, not just family responsibilities. You have to find a balance there and decide for yourself which is it that you need to focus on. But maybe you can just finish something with family responsibilities and duties, with difficult family situation or personal life or emotional, psychological situation or living situation, so you can concentrate on the 10th house to go out into the world, into the big wide world, and manifest there, create there, and yeah, become the master of your ship, as they say. All right, so this is Sagittarius. Yes, it might feel shaky, but it is exciting. Rare opportunities like that to shift to very important areas of your life, and for them to realign to the right path for you. And again, if you'd like to check out my 2-hour video course on the 3 periods of life, how to calculate them, it's a very ancient technique. It was used by the Hellenistic astrologers of 2000 years ago. They would split the life in 3 parts, and they would analyze and compare the 3 parts, which will be the easiest, or which will be the most successful, which will be the most difficult one, or maybe all 3 would be very successful, maybe one will be very successful and the others more in the background and quiet time. So it's fascinating. Check it out. For early bird, it's only $20. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, September 2025, Tropical Western Astrology. Capricorn, your planet Saturn is moving back into Pisces. And it was already in Pisces for the last 2 years, which is your 3rd house, but it's coming back there to complete maybe some unfinished tasks, maybe to complete some course of study. 3rd house is learning, classes, courses, maybe to refresh some old information, skills, or knowledge, maybe to complete learning some skill, maybe to hone or master some existing already skill that you have, some existing ability, And it's going to be there for 5 months. So if you haven't learned and pushed yourself to learn anything, and to especially to master something that requires repeated effort, now would be ideal time till February. Classes, courses, maybe, but it's not something brand new. It's something that you've been thinking about, or you've already started, or maybe it's asking you to complete something you've been writing, or maybe a website you wanted to release, or asking you, or maybe you have existing website or online business or commercial activity or business, to restructure it somehow, to make the infrastructure of it more efficient, more streamlined. Because third house is all about interactions, and if and Saturn is about efficiency, and third house is about connectivity. Or maybe it can be to finish some written project, a spoken project, or media project, or to restructure your marketing, advertising in some way, or your skills there to deepen them. Or third house can be something totally different, like siblings, relatives, people in your everyday environment. And Saturn is on one level, it's about rooting out the weeds. So third house is who you communicate, who you talk with, what you let into your mind. So Saturn there for one last time for 5 months might ask you, and you might have the impulse to, for example, control your online presence, even to take down some social account, even to use apps to limit your online time for 1 or 2 hours, to create more order and organization in your brain, in your daily habits in some way, what you let into you, if it's toxic, if it's misleading, if it's distracting, and to calm that mind down. So you might remove certain people from your life as well, because the third house is connected to siblings, relatives, uh, people, teammates, workmates, or people that you communicate, or maybe get out of some groups online that you are, or block something that you don't want to see on your phone, because now mostly our communications happen through this. um, so yeah, clean up house there in such matters. And there is also an eclipse on the 7th of September, which will last 3 months. So we have Saturn working on your third house for 5 months till February, and we have an eclipse lunar. Lunar eclipse is about releasing, letting go, completing something, and it's working there 3 months. So you might be completing some mental project, whether it's written, spoken, website, or some business project, or some business contract, or you might be completing some teamwork project that you've been doing, marketing, business, it's all third house, seeing the results of it. And if you've done a good job with this eclipse completing it, you can get really rewarded. Seeing a website ready, seeing a brand project ready, business something, or a book, or a business plan, whatever, or completing some course of studies, as I said, then you can be rewarded with that. Or you might need to change course and switch something. But there might be the danger of, because it's an eclipse after all, of kind of complicating a bit, or some crisis in your interpersonal relationships, siblings, relatives, or something happening in the life of a sibling, or in the life of a cousin, relative, or teammate, workmate, or a friend mate, people around in your life. These are not romantic partners or something like that, that shifts your relationship, or something is happening in their life that can affect you in some way. It can also be about unearthing a piece of information, or receiving some important and very important piece of information, like a missing puzzle that can make things clearer for you. Um, yeah, so this is, yeah. If there is any crisis in relationships with relatives, siblings, and so on, teammates, there is Jupiter sending a trine to this eclipse. So I think they will be start getting sorted, and then Jupiter will send trine to Saturn in the third house. In October, November, and December, these problems will be, or if there is some problems with some missing documents or papers, or some paperwork, or completing creative project, October, November, December, these things will have very good positive resolution. Now, Pisces is always the sign where we pay off the old karma. and we complete a big cycle in life. And for you, it's in the third house. So if this resonates for you, if you've had long-term standing problems, some of them might even be a full Saturn cycle of 27, 8 years, with a sibling or with relationships with relatives or with colleagues, or feeling misheard, feeling misunderstood, feeling not heard and not respected for your opinions, having repeated patterns of fearing to speak out or to say, to express yourself verbally, and thinking, oh, I'm stupid, or what I say is, such kind of blockages. So repeated problems with your car for years, repeated problems with finding your voice, uh, you know, then this is the end of it. The next 2, 3 months, they will solve it, because both an eclipse there, which is about releasing lunar eclipse, wiping the slate clean, and Saturn ending old karma and starting on a new stage there, will will really change those things for you. It's like this difficult old karma of the third house, and I'm not going to repeat it again, will finish. So you start on a clean slate, as I said. And even if it's complicated at first, the resolution comes this autumn for the people that are in the northern hemisphere. It can be also activation of some trip or journey, short-term trip or journey, something about car, transportation that you're sorting out, that you're trying to resolve and fix, that you're trying to, improve on. Or hopefully not a crisis with car or anything like that. But as I said, if you've been working on some third house project, like skills, like written, spoken, or media project, it can be the completion of it and the results. And then on the 21st of September, we have a new moon in your ninth house, Capricorns, and it's good. It's trine your sign. It's in Virgo in your ninth house, but this is the second new moon in Virgo this year. The first one is at the end of August, so it affects the whole September till the 21st. And the second new moon in Virgo, which is again once in a blue moon, this is what we call two moons in the same sign, two new moons or full moons in the same sign. Very rare. Another new moon, but this one on steroids because it's a full moon. It's a new moon eclipse. Eclipse is 3 to 6 times stronger than just the new moon. So very powerful and important new beginning. The universe is for the whole September, October, November, almost like 6 months ahead. The universe is telling you it's really time to start something new. I'm giving you two signs here, two opportunities, two periods that are extending to start something new. What is the ninth house? Maybe for some of you, it can mean opening path for a foreign country, foreign residence, relocation, or working in a foreign company, or communicating to expand your horizon by connecting with foreign people, or people from different states, or not people from your immediate environment. Third house is your immediate environment. It's your neighbors, your colleagues that you see every day, the people in your town. And ninth house is people that feel unfamiliar to you, people that have very different, even social class than you, usually higher standing, maybe to connect you to people with more academic or cultural positions, or more social status positions as well, or foreigners, people with very different experiences than you, not from your social class, not from your social group, maybe from another state, from another country. So for some of you, it can be that it opens a cycle that you'll be more connecting and talking and communicating with foreigners, or people, say, from some kind of a different background than you, different religion, different, usually a bit higher. The ninth house is higher social class. Or that you open yourself to new people and experiences, and even visiting new countries. Who knows? Maybe don't go to a foreign country on the eclipse, but this eclipse has 6 months duration, or it might be about arranging new beings to arrange citizenship, for example, in a foreign country, or something else there. Or ninth house is also just naturally expanding your horizon to look at things in a new way. So God and the universe is inviting you to start ninth house, the house of faith, what you believe is possible, to have a new attitude and way of looking at what you believe is possible for you, to about the future, to make a new plan for the future. And oftentimes this can include some kind of educational or pre-qualifying endeavors as well. So if you have a new vision for your life, maybe, oh, you don't want to be a nurse anymore, you want to be in marketing or whatever, so you need to take some classes or courses, so educate yourself, because ninth house and third house, they're very much connected. Is the access of learning, being tutored or mentoring, or you mentoring, or some of you it might be an invitation either to study, take a course, and it's not just in September and October. It's, as I said, it's a long-term influence. For others, it can be an invitation to explore unknown areas, literally and metaphorically, new horizons within themselves, maybe discovering new teacher to follow, new way of seeing the world. And the eclipse can really make a very fast shift in your belief system, what you believe is possible, and what your plans for the future are. And because it's Virgo, it's good that you plan and do some practical steps towards it. Maybe it's like a revelation. Ninth house is where God talks to us through our higher mind, like downloads, like a strong intuition about what the future holds, strong inspiration towards some goal or some new inspiration, that the universe opens you with 2 new moons and an eclipse there in your ninth house. So the ninth house is very much about connecting to the higher self, a higher perspective, trying to help you out from a stuck, like, I'm here, this is all I see, this is my reality, to let me raise you up high in the mountains so you can see from a much higher perspective and see that this is not the whole world. There is a lot more opportunity and possibilities there. And as I said, they might even involve foreign people, education, learning, higher perspective, or getting an answer intuitively or by a mentor or some person who appears as a mentor or messenger from God to you, to give you a solution to a problem, even practical solution. It is Virgo after all, to give you a higher perspective, to drag you out of the lower to the higher perspective and vantage point. And that's when you're high, you can breathe easier, you feel more hopeful, you feel more believe in the future more. And this is one of the 9 houses, one of the self houses, the self identity. So this is a house of self improvement, in a sense, self upgradement, self help, making yourself better version of yourself, the highest version of yourself possible. So it's like a pull towards that, to be a bigger, better version, more moral, more expanded, with more belief about yourself. I don't know how it will come to you exactly, but there is very strong indications there. There can be some identity crisis initially, because this eclipse on the 21st is opposite Saturn, Neptune, disillusionment with what you've been chasing as dreams and goals and ideals till now, or with certain teachings or beliefs, or with certain plans you've had for your future, with certain ideological affiliations, whether political, spiritual, religious, or maybe you've believed in the government or in the banks or something else, or some institution, and there might be initially some kind of crisis that triggers you towards expanded consciousness and opening up to new opportunities. It might be like a belief crisis or disappointment with something, not necessarily for everyone. Also, ninth house, the house of teaching. It might be invitation to a journey for you to start teaching and spreading knowledge, or advising, counseling others. That's different ways how it can play out, doing business with people not in your immediate area, faraway places. And it's also legal matters. Now, there can be some, if you're already in a legal case, some breakthrough, new direction, who knows, or the new beginning, to something with legal matters that you initiate. I'm not saying suing people, but like to make something legal in some way. dealing with such kind of matters. And the ninth house is the rules, the moral rules we have for ourselves, what our principles and ideals are. The universe is inviting you to this, to new morals, to new improved 2.0 version of yourself, which is more aligned to your true possibilities and your true self. It's kind of like opening up to God as well and to the higher vision and starting steps towards connecting to your intuition, higher mind. So you see, there is Capricorn's third and ninth house activation for you. They're both houses of the mind. The lower everyday mind is the third house, where Saturn wants you to put order, take out the weeds, the distractions. The eclipse, can give you even some conscious, in the third house, the lunar one, conscious and very emotional realizations about your thinking processes or your connections and your environment and developments there. While Saturn, and this also your beliefs versus other people's beliefs. It might be something that your focus goes on what I believe versus what others believe, my ideals versus others people's ideas. But it's the lower mind or the everyday mind is the third house, the logical, practical, fact-based mind, and the idealistic higher mind that doesn't think through logic, thinks intuitively, knows. So there is this kind of opening there in the intuitive, while you're being asked to take attention of facts and what is the reality around you. But there's the big shift is internal and it's in your consciousness. These are, we call them cadent houses. Oftentimes the change is not visible on the outside, but there is a shift within us, and that's happening in your consciousness and thinking processes, maybe upgrade of your consciousness. So thank you, Sagittarius. And yeah, it's also houses of learning, Sagittarius, Capricorn. The houses of learning, teaching, knowing the future, or if you want to do that, my course, which is only $20 for early birds, the 3 periods of life. How to calculate them. This is very ancient techniques. It's more than 2,000 years old. It's what was used for kings and queens and in the ancient times. Very simple. You don't need to know astrology. I lead you through that. We calculate your 3 periods and we see which one is the best. Sometimes person starts very hard and have great success later on, or the opposite. They have great success at the beginning, fortune, ease, and then hard times come. But there are 3 distinct periods for everyone if we live till the second and third, of course, which if you'd like to know, I'm very excited to share with you. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, September 2025, Tropical Western Astrology. Aquarius, this month, all the important events are happening on the axis of your second and eighth house, which is about resources, your resources, other person's resources, how much you give, how much you receive from others, how much others give to you, what they expect from you, what you expect from them, their values. So they might be at moments even clash about your values with your partner's value or other people's values. But it can also play harmonious where you balance those out, where you find solutions of, say, your priorities and what you value are different than your partner's. You can figure out a way to come to a middle ground. But let's start from the beginning of the month. Saturn is returning back to your second house, where it's been for the last 2 years approximately. It nipped out of your second house for 2, 3 months, but it's coming back to finish unfinished business there. And it's going to stay quite a long time, up to February. So almost 5 months. So you're going to, and at the same time, on the 7th of September, there is a lunar eclipse in your second house again. So extra focus and attention on your values, on what you consider beautiful, attractive, tasty, on what you consider worth investing your time and energy in. It's also your source of energy and your resourcefulness. So there is like Saturn coming back is asking you to work a bit longer or even to complete For example, a project that you might have started, or some kind of work that will allow you to have more financial independence in the future. Maybe the results don't come immediately, but it's something you need to complete now, the next 5 months, that will give you more financial independence. And it usually requires extra efforts and, trying to solve a few problems here and there. It doesn't happen just by you ignoring it. And eventually this will give you, for the next 28, 90, 28, 27, 28 years, can become a source of financial stability and resource for you. And the eclipse there can unlock certain resources as well, can illuminate resources that you had available around you, but you didn't think of before. And Saturn can make you work on that to materialize those. And full moon eclipses illuminate secrets and something that was hidden, and or it can start through a crisis sometimes. But this full moon eclipse has Jupiter trining it. The ruler of the full moon eclipse is trining it, so it's going to be for good. But there can be some shakeup financially, maybe expense, maybe needing to find sources for something, or maybe some kind of focus for you on solving some material issues and finding resources, and working with practical material things. For example, I'm decorating one flat, and this whole month and the next 4 months, have to find what I consider beautiful. And I'm realizing that my taste is really changing, because second house is your taste. And like before, I liked such kind of girly stuff. Now it's way more different preferences that I have. So in this process, I'm seeing how my values and my taste, and it's kind of more practical now. And I'm opening up to new possibilities as well. But it might be, something like reevaluating what you need keeping, and maybe throw out some old, because full moon eclipse is also about releasing, letting go. Something that has reached its full potential, so you can detach from it now. And Saturn is detachment as well, to allow you to detach from certain old possessions, or certain old ways of approaching money and approaching your resources, certain old ways, and put more order in your resources. Saturn is about order, and eclipses is about finding something to do it in a different way. So definitely about your own financial independence, some important decisions you'll do, not just in September, but as I said, Saturn is there 5 months, eclipse is 3 months. It can be triggered by some unexpected situations sometimes, so you can pay attention to it more. Or also to create more security for yourself in the future. Also, you can change during the next 2, 3, 4 months how you eat. Saturn can even kind of tweak your tasting buds, in a sense that you require less food, or that you stick to more simple foods, or that you can do some hard work to change your eating habits right now. And Saturn gives you the perseverance, and the eclipse can give you a deep emotional realization about that. So it's not just external efforts and tweaks and changes, but it's deep, profound emotional change as well, because it's in Pisces. And actually Aquarians, having in the second house of resource, energy, and food, Pisces, they're very emotional about money, about food. They might be even emotional eaters, or the emotions can really affect how they feed themselves and so on. So there might be some deep realization with this eclipse, like a breakthrough or release, maybe even of a trauma or pent-up emotions that are contributing to putting things that are not healthy in your mouth. And it's not always food that we put in our mouth. How we would think sometimes that coffee sustains us, that drinking sustains us, that is a resource for us, or that what we put in our body, what we eat. So it can, really reshape that area of your life. And if you had some long-term karma, maybe it's been for the last few years, maybe for 7 years, a Saturn cycle, or a bigger Saturn cycle, 14 years or 21 years or 28 years, the full Saturn cycle, maybe something that you've been struggling for a period of a time. You already know what it is connected to money, For example, you always like short on money, or you never have control of your money, or there's blockages, or you value yourself, you're struggling with self-worth, you always undervalue yourself. And it's been not just the last few months or something, it's a long-term repeated pattern. Saturn and this lunar eclipse end over the next 3 to 4 months, and this repeating karma, because Pisces is the last sign, and that's where the slate is being cleaned, wiped. So you can, for example, start, if it's been repeated sense of inadequacy, sense of worth, that you're less than, that you keep having problems financially, as we said, or how you eat. Maybe you've been having problem with food, with mine started exactly when Saturn was in the second house 28, 29 years ago. At the beginning, I was like not eating. I was just eating fruits and vegetables for a week, and then I'll binge eat on the weekend. And after that, it passed into, so I didn't want to do that. Passed into smoking, passed into drinking. And, like we know that when Saturn makes a complete circle or half circle or an opposition or another square, it can interrupt the cycle or clean it. But the biggest cleanup is when it returns back. So maybe something that you've been struggling with, even if you're younger than 28 years, in the second house area. As I said, self-worth, material, how material worries, fears, restrictions, or how you eat, what you put in your body, how you sustain yourself. They can be wiping clean of this. This karma is finished, so you can start anew there and build a different way of doing things there. And your taste, as I said, your taste can really shift and change. Maybe it's been happening for a while now because Saturn was in that second house. And then on the 21st of September, we're going to have in our eighth house a solar eclipse. Solar eclipse is new beginnings, new moon solar eclipse. But that's the second one within a month. The first one was on the 23rd of August that started to direct us towards new direction, new starts of the eighth house. And then we have a much more potent, another one in the same house. We call it once in a blue moon. Well, it's when two new moons or full moons happen within the same month. You're having that. So the universe is pointing your head and saying, I'm giving you an opportunity. And even if you don't want to, you have to go in this direction to start something new with this eighth house. And the solar eclipse lasts influences for 6 months, And so this influence starts from the end of August and it continues 6 months ahead or even 7. That it's a new opportunity and most potent in September, of course, because the eclipse is then, and the whole October, because the new moon influences you for a whole month, of solar eclipse for 6 months. To start a new beginning in this eighth house. What is the eighth house? On a psychological level, this is shadow work. And today is exactly the day of the new moon in Virgo, the first one. And I woke up with the thought, I need to do shadow work. And I'm like, what is even shadow work? I've heard it before, but with this intense need, it's in my eighth house, like for you, Aquarius. And I read it, and it's psychological transformation, psychological breakthrough and releasing. And so this is what it can open, especially the eclipse is even more potent than the new moon in August. And the eclipse in September is more potent, and it's much longer lasting. And what is shadow work used to? To integrate the parts of you that you hate, that you're ashamed of, or that the parts of you, the hidden talents that you might have that you've rejected. So total transformation. So this is some of the things that you can focus on and be successful with and begin with this eclipse. Psychological rewiring of yourself with some practical steps because it's in Virgo, maybe with a plan. Shadow work is every time you get triggered by something, you speak to the little child in you, like a little kid. Hey, my darling one, or hey, bud, why are you upset now? Let's see what is triggering you instead of doing the compulsive thing. Because eighth house is house of compulsions when we don't do the shadow work and psychological transformations, we act compulsively without knowing one, like this constant hunger. Eighth house is the scorpionic energy, constant hunger. It's never enough. That's why it's house of obsessions, addictions, and so on. So there is some very psychological big breakthroughs you can do with this eclipse in the eighth house and two new moons there. And whether you work with a psychologist or whether it happens spontaneously, eighth house can act very fast, you know. It's like rewiring of your chakras. Eighth house rules the chakras, the speed how big they are, how quickly they rotate, which direction they rotate in, all the openings in the body, apertures, as they say. So this is an eclipse can spin the wheel and make it spin faster, sometimes even psychological and spiritual experiences. It's the door to the invisible world, near-death experiences. Oof, please no. I can read, but and I always love reading about such things, but with the eclipse now, two new moons, maybe that's how it's a remedy. You read about the life after death, about transformational experiences, about deep psychological changes, about people who heal from eighth houses, also spontaneous healings or say remissions. Some disease you've been carrying for, genetic or whatever, long-term spontaneous healings. This new moon eclipse can open the door for new healing modalities for you, because it's also, especially it's in Virgo, which is also healing sign. So yeah, sudden rewiring of the deep recesses of your soul, and even those demons that are buried, or this shadow side coming to the surface, being released, because the solar eclipse is with the south node, so there is like the energy of being liberated as well. South node is released, but you're doing some steps or coming across some healing modalities, and this starts working. It's also, as I said, so you don't activate the more difficult side of the eighth house, which can be sudden reversals, shocks, secrets, betrayals. It's a dark house. Let's not kid ourselves, like sudden, I don't know, like crisis, sudden, it's bankruptcies, the house of bankruptcies, divorces, near death, rebirth, but death and rebirth. Okay, we're not dying, Aquarius. Don't worry. Pluto is in our sign. The planet that's most closely connected to the eighth house. But the universe is calling us and pulling us towards psychological breakthrough and psychological rebirth, and transforming. Eighth house is the transformer from one state to another, crossing that bridge, not to the other side. You're not going anywhere, don't worry yet. But this crossing that psychological bridge. So yeah, you might come out of this. Some of you, maybe not all Aquarius, of course, but there is a good portion of you that can come out of this eclipse. Maybe not exactly on the 21st of September, maybe a few 2-3 months. As I said, it's 6 months long, as a reborn person, or a person with, I remember the last time there was eclipses in our eighth house in Virgo was 9 years ago, and 9 years ago. And that was when overnight my whole life turned upside down. Well, downside up in my case. But it was like I woke up one morning, I got rid of my whole previous life, quit that was right after the eclipse, in the eighth house. I left husband, moved to another continent, got married, got pregnant. Eighth house is pregnancies, but such very sudden reversals can happen because of some sudden deep realizations and psychological breakthrough. And eighth house is moksha house, which means to be free, to be liberated from attachments emotionally. So is the south node, which is causing the eclipse. So you have this double whammy energy here, to be freed, to be released, but to start something new. So you can start something new, or you start something new and it frees you from some old baggage and inner demons and old stagnant, because eighth house is also like, if it's not moving the energy, it becomes what is that, like bog, where the marsh, like a marsh marshy, boggy area, and we can feel stuck. And also it can open you this two new moons there and one eclipse, pregnancies for some of you. It can trigger open to realign you through a pregnancy, through secret affairs, eighth house, or through soulmate like relationships and intense alchemical sexual attractions as well, or even sexual healing. Sometimes one needs a little bit of intimacy to open oneself to another, to remove blockages that didn't allow you to connect with another on a deeper level, so you can have this healing. But on a more material level, the eighth house is other people's resources, money, your mutual finances with your husband or wife, money that comes to you from clients, money that comes to you from alimony or from payments from others in some way or from the government, support, material, financial, or emotional that comes to you from others. And the universe is asking you to open up, to be willing to receive from others, because it's two new moons, new beginnings. By letting go, possibly, of some other support that you've been receiving from maybe another place, but a new source will come. Also, to open yourself to new sources of help from outside, or new ways to attract others' finances, to attract others' skills and talents as well. It's not just their money, it's all their resources. They have skills, they have knowledge, they have anything that's valuable in them. To open yourself and even to look for help from others, how they can help you with their ideas, their resources. And of course, Saturn is asking you to be in the second house with the eclipse, to release some old attachments that you have to possessions, to what you consider valuable, so you can welcome in other points of view of what is valuable and what others can contribute from the eighth house for 2-3 months at least. You can also be open up to interest in the occult, in astrology, study psychology, read about such more mysterious, more profound things, or do some research. It's eighth house. It's what, aligns us to deep research, introspection, and sudden realizations as well. And if you want to do some psychological, astrological study, check out my course on the 3 stages of life. It's only 2 hours long, only $20. I always try to do things very affordable and to see how each stage of your life and which years it switches. It's a very ancient technique, 2000 years. I've been testing it for a month. It really works. 70 to 80%. So check it out. But yes, Aquarius, mine versus yours. My finance, and of course, it's an eclipse in the eighth house, can indicate some first psychological shock or financial shock. 2 eclipses in financial houses, so some financial important developments, but they're opening you to something new. They're realigning you to the right path. And there is a lot of healing that is happening as well, and a lot of release and shadow integration, whatever that means. We'll find out soon. Or maybe to dig out, to research, to study something in depth as well, which is the eighth house. So thank you so much. Hope you're blessed. And yeah, Venus is in your seventh house. So there can be some fun times with relationships. Your partner can be more loving as well. And this eclipse in the eighth house is saying that, okay, open yourself to intimacy, to receive from others, whether support, emotional, psychological, or maybe a new beginning. Maybe your partner gets a new job and that's new source of income coming for you, or something like that. Or some new investment you do together as a couple that can be very pivotal, very important in the long term for you, because new moons, they give their results much later, maybe 6 months, maybe a year and a half or so on. But now you start the beginning steps. So thank you. Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, September 2025, using tropical Western astrology. Pisces, this month is very pivotal for you because the eclipses are happening on the axis of Pisces and Virgo. Exactly, on your axis. You and the one is opposite you, the other one is in your sign. So some lives will be transformed for people who have strong Pisces, the Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. I can give some specific degrees to watch out for, but all Pisces, they have to pay attention because on the 7th of July, sorry, so tired. I mean, by the time I reach Pisces, I'm really not thinking rationally. I'm channeling. I'm on sleep mode, but maybe more profound insights come then. So on the 7th of September, there is an eclipse, lunar eclipse in your sign Pisces, and that's at 14 degrees. So right in the middle of Pisces. So if your sun, moon, or ascendant is around 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, even 17 degrees of Pisces, you feel this lunar eclipse very possibly life-changing in some way in your sign. It's like all the identity is going, new one is appearing, new role in your life, or something is shifting in how you perceive yourself. But for all Pisces, it's in your first house, some deep realizations, very emotional, like emotional realignment that is happening to align you to your true north node, because it's with the north node, to your true path and some realizations about you, how you want your life to be, if it's your sun in Pisces, possibly for your career, possibly for important relationships with male figures or father figures, something very kind of fate that can happen. Or with, they say when there is an eclipse on your sun, your whole life can change within the next 3 months because the lunar eclipse is active for 3 months. But it's kind of opening of a portal when an eclipse happens. Lunar eclipse, they open portals to the astral, where external influences can enter and impact you for better or worse, and realign your fortune ahead. As I said, realign the fate of a person, the direction. And if you're especially those degrees where the lunar eclipse is happening, you have to be a bit more cautious about health because there will be big changes in your life if you're those degrees in the next 3 months, 4 months, and the subconscious feels it, and sometimes this it like feels like a big change is coming, even if it's for good, because eclipse with the south node tends to be for good, like some reward or some and it's trine Jupiter, its ruler, so something good. But even good changes can feel stressful on the body, so sometimes our health is weaker when there is eclipses on sun, on the moon, on the ascendant. Not always, but just cautioning you around the 7, the weeks before, the weeks after, not to do too many extreme things. Plus, you're more emotional on a lunar eclipse right in your sign. If you think like, whoa, what's happening? You're feeling something, you might not even know what it is. So there might be some specific event happening in your life and you feel a bit overwhelmed, even if it's for good, as I said. So that's just kind of wait for it to settle down. But something important, and the full moon eclipse is definitely about getting results for something. Maybe you started something a few months or a year or two ago, and now you can see the results of it. And now you can either complete it, and because Saturn is also there, if you've done the hard work in the last 2, 3 years, well, Saturn was in your sign and it's coming back to your sign again on the 1st of September. It means that it can reward you for the efforts, for the repeated efforts, with a breakthrough. Eclipses are a breakthrough many times, especially lunar eclipses, breakthrough through old problems. And Saturn is again coming for 5 months into your sign from the 1st of September till February. So 5 months, and the eclipse is active 3 months. So you see the next 3 to 5 months to really change the direction of your life because it's in your sign. If it's your moon in Pisces, it's about your personal life, it's about your mental well-being, it's about your personal relationships, that there is a big shift happening, how you're doing them, and so on. It's possibly some kind of more responsible role is coming to your life, more mature, the next stage of your life, that you take on more responsibility and that you take on more respectful and senior role of some sort. For some of you, it can be, because it's Saturn in your sign. If you work hard, if you deserve it, it can mean the next chapter of your life deserve break with the rewards of your previous achievements, like a retirement or whatever, or if you work hard but you still have time ahead for and you still want you're ambitious, it can be the rewards of your efforts by giving you even more authority, more respect. And if you've been in the wrong direction in life, Saturn and eclipse in your first house, it can kind of like topple the tower. So you can, see which roles you've played and which goals you've chased are unrealistic and which are not for you, to realign to the right path, basically. Because Pisces is the last sign, but for you it's your first house. And I would ask you to look back. Has there been a consistent problem in your life? If it's your ascendant, even with your health, with overall fate in life, if it's your sun in Pisces, with your career, with your self-confidence, with your moon in your personal life, more likely, but in the last 7 or 14 or 21 or even 28 years, a full cycle of Saturn, some problems that was repeated. For someone, it might be a repeated addiction. For another, might be a repeated problems with self-expression or health problem. Think back, everyone has one issue they struggle for many years, not just the last few months. Something that you can't get rid of or you can't overcome, which is that area of your life. Because now Saturn and this eclipse, lunar eclipse of completions, and Saturn completing a Saturn cycle of 28 years, even if you're not 20 years old, or you're younger, Saturn has also cycles of 7, 14, 21 years. But something that has been a repeated problem for you in the next 4 to 5 months will get resolved, will get wiped clean of, like, it's like this burden. God says it's no longer yours. You don't have to carry it. Maybe you've tried many times before, nothing happened, didn't work. Maybe very small progress, or just only with a lot of effort, and always had to white knuckle it, always had to, and you think you're stuck always in the same pattern. And I'm here to give you the good news that Saturn, even though it's coming back to Pisces for the last time, and this eclipse making a big breakthrough for you, this eclipse making a big release of the old, a big emotional realignment. So within the next 3 to 4, 5 months, you'll be rid of that repeating issue. Even if it comes from the depths of your psychology and you're one with it, there will be a release, and you start on a clean slate in your life, like a new direction, new chapter, new way of being. So these old self-identifications and roles can be worked on and released. Also, Saturn coming back into your first house and with an eclipse in the first house in your sign can indicate if you have something to finish. Maybe you started something, you haven't thought about it, coming back, oh, this opportunity that I didn't know or that I had forgotten about, let me complete it. Or some initiative you started and now you're completing it for the next 2-3 months. That's all it can mean. As I said, the rewards of previous actions. But on the 21st, we're going to have another eclipse. And now this time it's right opposite you in the 7th house in Virgo at the 29th degree, the very last degree of Pisces will feel it strongly. So those who are 26, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Pisces, this eclipse can be life-changing for you. I mean it, like say if you're born 16, 17, 18, 19th of Pisces, of March, these are the last degrees, the last 3/4 degrees of Pisces, basically, or your sun or moon is in the last 3-4 degrees. This eclipse, your life can change through another person. And now I'm speaking also about all Pisces because it is happening in your 7th house. So even if you're different degrees, you can still feel it. And this is the second eclipse, the second new moon in Virgo within a month. This is what we call once in a blue moon, 2 new moons to fall in the same sign, or 2 full moons You have your once in a blue moon period now. So one new moon opens new beginnings for a month, renewal, and we have it every month. So maybe nothing happens. Some very little renewal, new beginning. One new moon happens on the 23rd in your seventh house of relationships and others and distant places. And then another one, but this one is an eclipse on the 21st of September. It's like God says, I'm giving you 2 times opportunity for something new to enter your life through another or in your relationship. So by opening yourself to hear what others have to tell you, or by releasing an old relationship or attachment or a contract, which you've been holding on, and opening yourself for a new one. Because this new moon eclipses with the south node. First, either release something and you open yourself to something good that comes to you from another person and realigns you to your path, or you open yourself to something good that comes to you from another. Whether it's a business partnership, collaboration, or whether it's some new beginning starting in the life of your partner, which will allow you to let go of some other way that you're dependent on them, or some other relationship or some other aspect or contract or agreement. So the new might come first and the old goes after, or the other way around. So you're being told on the next almost 6 months, a big shift can happen in your relationships in the seventh house. It's not just September. And if you come to me in the middle of September or 21st of September and said, here, there's no new man in my life, there is no new relationships, nothing new is happening in the life of my husband, you suck. I said 6 months, guys. Oh, patience. This shows you longer cycles. And it is also about opening up to, while you're doing this restructuring of who you are, me versus others, there can be a bit of push and pull. Your partner might want to do something else, to start a new chapter in their life, to start a new project, while you're completing old ones with Saturn in your first house, or still working on restructuring yourself, on building foundations or working on your own goals. So there can be this push and pull, but you can balance it. Oppositions doesn't always mean confrontation, they can mean balancing. And maybe you might have to consider the needs of those around you, seventh house, and because there's something new happening in their life or some new direction they're taking, while keeping your integrity and keeping focus on your needs as well, the first house, and your interest, and not neglecting yourself. So both need the attention. But indeed, sometimes a person can meet a soulmate or a very important life relationship around an eclipse in the seventh house, especially in the seventh house if it's your moon in Pisces or your ascendant in Pisces. The sun as well, not the ancients said on the axis, when there is eclipse on the axis of the first and the seventh. But I remember I got married on an eclipse on my sun, opposite my sun as well. Not on the eclipse, but the year of the eclipse. I'll never marry on an eclipse. And so the later Pisces, they need to be like those 3-4 degrees. They need to be more cautious with their health in September and October, because as I said, new moon eclipse opposite them, and the middle Pisces that we mentioned, they have to be more cautious with their health. But they can also be the recipients of the biggest changes and transformations and big, opportunities for new beginnings as well. Also, if a new partnership appears, like business or client or contract, I would say consider it. 2 new moons, one of which solar eclipse, it's pulling your attention, or something coming to you through others. But if it's your sun or moon in Virgo, not the ascendant, the seventh from the sun and the moon is not always about relationships. It just means that an eclipse is activating you. So a big shift in career for the later degrees Virgos, if it's their sun there, or for the moon in their personal life, emotional, even home, place of living, parenthood, becoming a parent or something, I don't know, new beginning there, or property, because that's the moon, or new emotional attachment and releasing old one. So this is how those 2 eclipses are going to play out. You're the most affected sign together with Virgo, for better or worse. I say for better. Okay. Yes, because Saturn is opposition this new moon on the 21st. Saturn in your sign on the 29th degree. So those really late degree Pisces, they get like the most intense changes. But the best things happen during the things that you say, I'm so grateful this happened because it turned my life around. I had a breakthrough. I was in this tough spot, or there was a crisis or something, that after that the life is not the same in a good way, and you're grateful. And so yeah, Saturn is opposition with the eclipse in your seventh house. So initially, there might be some resistance or some worry or some crisis that these changes are happening through. They take longer time to see the results of, because new moons, you see, sow the seeds of something. New moon eclipses, you don't reap. You reap with the lunar eclipse, which is happening in your sign in the middle of the Pisces on the 7th. And I'm not saying that exactly on the 7th this event will happen for you, but you can reap for previous things, or some old matters can be activated to be resolved, to be dealt with, to be released, or to be rewarded for with the lunar eclipse. And I think this one will be more rewarding because it's with the North Node, it's with Jupiter trine. While new things will come, just the seeds to be planted, and they would blossom maybe for the next few months, maybe for the next 2, 3 years, through others, through relationships, through opening yourself to a different perspective, for example. So this is it, Pisces. If you want to know how your life is mapped out, it's just 2 hour course that I've done, recorded the 3 stages, the 3 periods of your life. There is 3 planets for every person. They're different, that correspond to their life according to ancient astrology. It's a 3,000 year way how the ancient astrologers used to look at the charts of the monarchs and so on. And they would say, okay, your life will be in 3 stages. The first one, you'll be very successful. The second one, which for some people it shifts at 17, for others it can shift at 38. I'll show you how to calculate it and how successful each of those parts will be. This is fascinating tool to have. I tested it quite a lot and it's very correct. So thank you, Pisces. Tell us how you're doing, how your life is changing over these 2 eclipses.